What's up, my little munchkins? How are we all doing then, eh? I'm doing great, thank you. Welcome to Plat Chat Overwatch. Look, we got a new studio that's blank, but we're going to fill it with artwork and stuff. I don't know what episode it is. I forgot to look that up.
69. Episode 69.
No, it's not.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's 69.
It's episode 69, huh?
Wow.
You know what that means?
That's why we're in person.
No.
They're in person because they live next to each other now.
All right, so those that are under 18, you might want to turn the video off right now. It's going to get wild.
Who needs monetization anyway?
A few of us moved to Austin, and now me and Josh live next door to each other, so we're bubbling, which basically means you.
Yeah, that's not similar to the episode number.
Not similar to the episode number, but we're basically just not seeing other people.
Yeah, we're exclusive.
Yeah, we're only really seeing each other. Yeah, I mean, it's, so now we can do podcasts and shit in person, I guess.
You have lost it, man. You have lost it.
This is I mean, you had some horrible.
Number 69.
You've had some horrible starts to episodes, but this one I think takes the cake. Like there was nothing even like remotely like even that funny. Like it's just obviously
69 lol.
just obviously a number. Yeah, the number has multiple meanings, and Bren just giggled like a middle schooler about it. Now it's just off the wagon.
You know. All right, where are we? Yeah.
You're the host. You know where we are.
Let me start by saying that this set is going to evolve over time. We're going to add more to it. We're going to add artwork. Josh has got a tweet if you want to recommend any artists.
I have already been given so many artist recommendations, but I appreciate it. I've been introduced to so many new artists around the scene, actually.
Yeah, and we're just planning on adding art to this. This set, building it up over time, maybe getting some shelves.
We'll probably get a PO box at some point if people want to send us stuff, but at the moment we're just looking to maybe once a week we'll buy a new piece of art or something and show it off on stream, get some shelves and some plushies.
What if we had somebody come in and paint that wall and do some cool kind of like Plat Chat?
Make it a green screen.
No. Paint it like a multicolor kind of thing with some
love it.
Not during COVID. Sorry, we're closed.
Okay.
Well, actually, we could learn.
Renting the house?
I mean, you guys learn how to paint.
Walls.
Wait, what?
What do you mean?
Is that allowed? Like they're renting the house. They can't just make it a rainbow, surely.
Yeah, you can. You just paint over it.
Yeah.
Wait,
have you never put holes in rental walls or like painted them or anything?
Making a drill hole for a painting is a bit different than painting.
Mate, they have to repaint the wall anyway if you put a drill hole in it. Doesn't matter if you paint a big cock on the wall. They have to repaint it.
Brush. You know, that's like going into paint and just doing a stroke.
No. You have to redo the entire wall. No one does touch-ups because you leave a big like blob on the wall. You can tell.
Yeah, you do the whole wall. Most of the time when you
inefficient.
Yeah, but most of the time, Johnny, when you leave like an apartment, at least in Los Angeles, like they do the carpets and they paint it all again anyway, regardless of whether you painted it or not.
Also,
they just take it out.
You drill a hole, they just chalk it up.
Yeah, but they still paint over the top of it.
They still paint it though. Yeah, most of the time they still put like a new fresh coat of paint on whenever you move out of an apartment or something. So
that's so dumb. So inefficient. That's so dumb.
Yeah.
And take it up with somebody who owns the building. I mean, I don't know.
How did you decide on the set where to hang the paintings? Is there any method to it?
Josh wanted hair.
Well, it's going to change over time. Josh has been the lead architect on this mission.
Mate,
wait, hold on. Yo, Josh, turn to the side real quick.
Just scoot a bit.
Like your cut.
The whole, bro. You got a little krillin going on in the back. I see a little krillin up. Yeah, it's flipping up in the back from the side. Yeah. Oh wow, there's a lot of length there.
It's fluffing up a little bit.
This shit was bald like 3 months ago.
When I get my clippers in, I can give you a trim.
Yeah, I'm not sure I trust you. I've seen your quarantine haircuts.
Josh has just been cutting the sides and the top because nobody ever sees the back.
I'll give you a trim.
I haven't been cutting it at all.
I think you more than anyone on this set could really dedicate yourself to like the monk haircut, that goes around in the back, and then just leave the like bald spot in the middle.
Yeah, good idea.
How was your guys' move though? I'm sure everybody is wondering how has the move been? Was it good? Did everything go smooth?
I haven't got any of my stuff yet.
Yeah, you talk about me being a monk, Jonathan. He's living without worldly possessions. He's actually abandoned everything he owns in order to accumulate spiritual wealth.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite
sat
nice.
here in a Zen state.
I'm wondering why I ever packed at all. Should have just left it in LA, I think.
Well, Bren also packed all of the silverware for the entire house. And so now they have no knives and forks here. So they were like, Josh, can we borrow a knife and a fork?
How long? How long are you going to wait?
No, eat with your hands, you little peasants.
It arrives on Thursday, but I made a mistake with the address, so I hope they don't deliver it to the wrong address.
Wait, what?
He put in my address instead of his, so it's just going to go next door.
If it goes next door, that's problematic.
Which basically means I'm going to have a big skip outside my front window.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they don't do that because I've got a lot of bulky stuff and it'll be a pain in the...
You can
what an extra...
with them, like send them a text.
Yeah, I'll have to call them on the day or something. We can get into the business, you know what I mean? Into the
Let's dox ourselves and leak our address within 3 days of being here.
Let's get into the meat of the operations here. The meat of the stew, as they say.
Meat and veg, potatoes. Yeah,
exactly. The carbohydrates.
You said stew.
What did you think I said?
Oh, I thought you said the meat of the shoe. I was like, who the hell says meat of the shoe?
No.
It's like
stew. I know you probably don't eat stew because you're from Long Island.
Yeah.
And they only eat caviar.
Yeah, caviar on bagels.
And bagels out there.
Yeah.
You've never actually...
Lobster rolls.
Caviar on bagels.
You've never actually had a lower class meal in your life. You've never had your lips sullied by
He eats the
aluminium.
bagel with a silver spoon. I've never seen someone eat a bagel with a spoon until I saw Matt eat.
Quite odd.
It's unbelievable.
I just scoop it out the insides.
Matt buys full circles of bread, and he pays someone to cut the hole out the middle to make the bagel for him. He just has a little bagel creator in the back. He throws him into a hole, and there's a guy who lives underneath his stairs who goes, "Yes, master," and just carves out the middle hole and then passes it back to him.
Hugo's always barking at. What was that? Oh. Old me just had a flashback.
Got a flash or something. Can we talk about the law?
Yeah, let's talk
Can
about
we start
the lore.
this fucking episode?
We are talking about math lore.
Yeah. There's new law that got announced or released, regurgitated into the wild. I don't really know how they do law these days, but this was an article, and it was a letter, mainly written in Japanese, but thankfully they translated it. Hello.
What do you mean they translated it?
Yeah, whoever
creates the law these days. Yeah.
Also, I like how you preface that as they've announced a lore, like a big blog post just went out that said new lore.
I mean,
that's
pretty much what this is.
A list of new things. No, there's a lot that goes into this.
So is Japanese read downwards?
Yeah, downwards.
Huh. I actually,
like
for some reason, I thought it was read right to left.
Arabic.
Yeah, I know that Arabic is, but I thought that some Asian languages were as well.
I guess like anime comics.
Yeah, manga is. Manga is read right to left.
Yeah,
so
maybe in terms of like the speech bubbles.
Do you have a TLDR on this, Bren?
Yeah, basically. So somebody on Reddit, who I'm not going to name because then I'd be breaking the laws of Reddit, wrote some lovely bullet points, essentially explaining the law and what it could mean. And I thought it'd be fun to theorize a little bit here. Right. So the one writing the letter is Asa, don't really know how to pronounce it. And they were the sword master of Genji and Hanzo. Okay, so here I've taken it out and unfortunately haven't included their name.
Hanzo doesn't have a sword,
but presumably I think he does. He's got one on his back.
He's got a little blade, I think.
Yeah, he's got a little blade or something.
When does he use that?
A shiv.
He doesn't.
He doesn't use
it. But it's like
it's
like ceremonial, I think, or something along those lines.
A lot of people have ceremonial swords without swords masters. You know what I mean?
Her husband, to whom she is writing, is a weaponsmith who forges blades for the Hashimoto clan.
Do we know them?
And no, I mean, this is all like a lot of law in Overwatch is very indirect and wishy-washy. And you've got to try.
Do we know them? Like they're relatives.
You got to piece it together.
Yeah,
Almost.
I mean that it sounds like
That's
what
the
is
clan that Genji and Hanzo.
Anyway, I'm giving you the bullet
of,
points
right?
here. Like
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Isn't that right, Matt?
Yeah, I believe that's the.
No,
it's
it's
either
not
like
Shimada.
what is it? No, they're the Shimada brothers, but I believe it's the.
Okay,
clan
well, if you let me
is, like,
fucking
either,
finish, I'll
okay.
read out the bullet points, huh?
Go on then.
Yep.
Which I've painstakingly not put together. I just snippeted it. Apparently, this weapon master bloke sent a gift of a sword to their daughter. Well, he sent a gift to their daughter, but it's probably going to be a sword because they're swordsmiths, right?
No, he said weaponsmith. Could be anything.
Yeah, okay.
Could be Brigitta's flail.
Weaponsmith, you got to assume it's a sword.
Why do
some
you have to
kind.
assume it's a sword?
Because I mean,
You can make many things. A weaponsmith
Swordmaster-
can make many things. Could be a
swordmaster,
baseball
weaponsmith.
bat.
Okay, could be any weapon, but we're going to assume it's a sword.
Could be a
for the-
Glock.
Okay, cool. This is very, very. I don't know. This is very in-depth lore. I don't think it's really needed. But essentially, the gist of it is a group of rebels have been stealing things from this clan. In the letter, they disapprove of it, and they wish them punished. The group responsible is also responsible for graffiti in the local area. So, what do they call it?
Theft and
rebels?
graffiti.
Yeah, but what do they call it in the UK?
Vandalism?
ASBOs. They hand out the ASBOs.
Yeah, antisocial behavior.
Antisocial behavior order stuff going on.
Right.
And in the letter, she intends to find and stop these rebels, not out of loyalty, but to protect the people of Kanizaka. So basically, people are theorizing from this. I know you're yawning, Matt, but just hold on for 1 second. People are theorizing that this is kind of teasing a new hero. Now, they've said there's not going to be any new heroes until Overwatch 2, but they're teasing, they're kind of setting the lore, just underlying lore, I suppose, for a new hero to be coming out, and they're theorizing it's related to this in some way or form. So what do we think then? Would it be cool? I think another melee character that uses a sword, because you got Genji uses a sword.
Yeah.
But that's only his ultimate.
No, not just his ultimate. He has a quick melee that's a sword.
It's like a dagger.
Dagger, yeah.
What the fuck is the difference between a dagger and a sword?
Quite a lot. The
length.
size.
Their length, yeah. There's a
At
lot.
what point? Sorry.
If I go into your house, not mine because we don't have any cutlery, but if I go into your house and pull out a kitchen knife,
Yeah.
would you call that a sword?
There are similar sized short swords around the world. Yeah, I think the Romans only used a short sword that was like 30 centimeters long.
It would have been longer than that.
So if you found a stick in the woods, you'd just be like, yeah, it's a mace.
Yeah, would you call it a club if you found a stick?
Huh? What are you talking about,
Because
man?
it's similarities.
Oh, here we go.
No,
What is this?
I think difference between sword and dagger. Okay, which one's a sword there and which one's the dagger?
Swords are long blades, having a handle, but they're more designed to slash, whereas the dagger is more designed to stab.
Yeah.
Right, so
Stabby, stabby.
actually Genji does slash with his quick melee, so it's a sword.
Shut up. Anyway, where was
It would be cool if we got like a rogue hero that could have like
Knives are
dual-wielding
generally
daggers.
6 inches or less, while swords are generally a foot or longer. While there's no established cutoff between a knife and a sword as far as length, the longer the blade gets to a certain point, it becomes a fighting weapon. So technically, your knife is a very, very, very short sword that, if it grew in length, could become a real sword.
If it grew, like when it grows up, when it gets older and it grows up.
Yeah, when it matures.
I think it's cool to think about it though, like the hero teasers, this kind of underlying lore. It's for the real lore experts out there.
I don't think. Okay, Jonathan had an idea about a rogue hero, so I want to hear that before I put a
let's
poo-poo
hear it,
dampener
John.
on everything.
No, just think like Tracer, but with daggers, like teleporting, and like some stealth hero. I don't know. When was the last time
like,
you had a hero anyway?
Like PA from Dota.
Another thing in this letter is it kind of hints.
Sure.
It uses some. The wording is quite odd in a lot of the sentences, and it kind of I'll try and find some of the exact wording of it, but it uses things it describes things as well. It refers back to foxes a lot. Kaneki. Kaneki is Japanese for fox, I think.
Oh, mate.
Now you got
all
Josh's
in
attention.
this
Now
one.
you got Josh's attention.
God,
knives
people
and
are-
foxes.
Foxkin?
People are thinking.
Uwu?
people are thinking that it's something to do with like foxes, and there's also a line in it that references like a swing of 9 tails. Like I think the 9-tailed fox is a symbol in some in Japanese culture. I'm not sure what it references. Oh, here we go. Some Control F magic. Is it right at the end? I can't even see.
I would love to tell you what that says,
Yeah.
but we haven't set up our system properly.
I will close on the lighter note that I promised and say that I know if you were here, you would remind me. The Kitsune can change your luck with a flick of even one of her tails. May she flick all 9 of them and send some much needed good fortune our way.
So people have
Kashiko.
been really,
Awesome.
people have been really analyzing that last line as like theorizing that could be like the ultimate ability of this theorized hero. Like they have like a
Ninetales.
fox form and they flick their tails and it's like a
God.
Oh, that
this-
gets Josh going.
This mega
Josh
move.
would he'd go wild. I mean,
Yeah.
Overwatch is just going for the furry audience.
Why is the
a couple
table
years in.
raising?
Yeah, I mean, even a hero that had something like how Jet's ultimate in like Valorant, right, has like throwing knives. Like if they had some kind of hero that did like projectile or hit scan with like knives, that'd be kind of cool for the future.
I mean, the thing is though, how does that? I mean, that's just basically Zen, isn't it?
Are we
Zen
even
just-
sure that we're getting like a dagger hero?
No,
I don't think we're getting a hero.
This is no. But this
People
is like
going wild.
when they tease underlying lore like this, they did it for what's the hero called?
Doomfist.
No. It was
Echo.
in the Havana
Well, they did
mission.
it with one of Batiste's friends in one of the
Yes,
comics.
it was in the
right?
Havana mission.
oh,
It's like
everyone was
Sojourn.
thinking
yeah,
he was
Sojourn, the squad
a
leader,
tank.
right?
Yeah, they did say Sojourn would be. Did they say that or did they hint at it that it would be an available hero in Overwatch 2?
I have no idea.
I think they hinted at it.
But I'm sure. But they've done various args and things, not even args, but just like articles hinting at the next hero releases pretty often.
Yeah.
Like they did it in the lead up to Echo, I'm pretty sure as well.
But they've also done a bunch of stuff that doesn't lead to heroes. Instead, it leads to like
it's world building.
Yeah, it's just world building,
Yeah.
and that I feel is much more likely when you consider that
Yeah.
they've publicly said there's no more heroes until
No, there
Overwatch 2.
isn't. Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying this is coming out soon. I'm just
Yeah,
saying that
but-
I feel like they're setting the stage.
But then, if they were going to set the stage, why wouldn't they be setting the stage for like Sojourn as like the next hero or something?
They've introduced a ton of new characters like through stuff like this recently. There was the one in the Baptiste Maga in the Baptiste comic. I just had
Who was
went to
that
go
again?
look it up. He was in the Baptiste comic.
Was he the like salesman figure?
No, I was just going to bring that up. And then if you remember the end of the the Havana single player mission they added, where it was that like Omnic looking guy with the dreads like looking thing that met Doomfist. They've added a bunch of characters like to the lore, or at least they've just kind of like introduced them, right?
Yeah, maybe
as
they're
I-
just trying to trickle them in to set the world for Overwatch 2 at some point. So
Look at
it's
that
like
dude.
Yeah.
Tell me
fleshing
you
it out.
wouldn't want to play as that guy.
God, he's a
Yeah, he'd be fucking awesome.
absolute unit, isn't
Look
he?
at the size of him.
He looks like Thingy that sings "You're Welcome." He looks like the
Moana?
demigod from Moana.
It's yeah. I think
It'd
they
be
do
like
a phenomenal
the,
job with the character building in Overwatch.
It'd be like everyone likes Reinhardt because he's like this good guy, you know, big armor, big dude, big hammer, kind of guy. But like, it would be awesome to have that big, like, bad dude to like counter Reinhardt and what he's about, and just be like the evil twin, or not evil twin, but you know, that kind of style. I think that'd be epic.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what Doomfist was supposed to be as well, though, right? Like he's the big burly.
but he
I'm gonna punch you in the
punches.
mouth.
Like, who cares about punching? You need like big weapons, like big hammers, Swyhanders, you know, you know, big rocket launchers, that kind of shit.
Can you imagine just
I think
a
this is
weapon that
more just
cleaves
world
people?
building.
Yeah, that's my thought process. It's kind of cool though. I mean, it ties in with the current challenge that's going on the game as
Yeah.
well, right? What is the name of the challenge that's currently running?
It's just the name of the map, right?
Yeah, it's
Zeki?
let me see. Who's the
Pull it
Play
out,
Overwatch
man.
account tweeted it out? Yep, this is
here
not
we
the
go.
current challenge
That's the
going on.
new
This is,
hero in the game.
Mate, that guy is absolutely from the UK. He's got a super dry jacket on and jeans that
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
are way
he-
out of date. He's absolutely from the UK.
Kanezaka Challenge
Power wash that floor.
is the
Absolute
the
three-head.
Overwatch account tweeted about it.
Yeah, he will be a 3-head when he lops off the top of his ears.
So yeah, maybe maybe the story has to do with the release of the new map and stuff more.
I think it does.
It adds more context, like because looking at the video of the map, there is like graffiti and stuff like you mentioned in the story, Bren.
Wouldn't it be great if they just added a graffiti artist into the game? But I don't mean like someone cool like Banksy. I mean like an absolute Asbo loving chav, just a real genuine British 3-head.
Yeah.
That was just
Tracer's dropout brother. Got a graffiti in.
I think that'd be amazing.
Not even a hero. He just turns up. He's like, "How have I ended up in this mess?"
Yeah. What the fuck is going on here?
What the fuck you say to me?
He headbutts people.
We can talk about something else now. Let's talk. There was an experimental patch that got released, and
this
it was all
mad interesting.
This is pretty much all the changes I wanted to see. Although I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on this. So they made changes to essentially the common complaint heroes at the moment, which is Sigma, Ball, Ashe, Hanzo, I think. Or not?
Oh my god,
I
this was so
I don't think
Hanzo
Hanzo's
in a
a
positive
complaint.
but they buffed Hanzo, right? What did they do to Hanzo?
They buffed him. They made his storm arrows go faster.
Okay.
Which
Let's
I think
start
is
at the top. Let's start at the top of Ashe. So I think they've nerfed essentially the damage output. They said that when she's damage boosted, they found it was a bit weird that she could one-shot 200 HP targets. Completely agree. A little bit too oppressive. Bearing in mind she can still do it to Widowmaker, I think. Just putting it out there.
Oh yeah, of course. I forgot about that actually and how it interacts with that. So yeah, she can still one-shot damage boosted headshot a Widow. Yeah. But not any other
medium range,
Well, I suppose a Tracer as well, but nobody else.
And I think it aimed down sights recovery time. So they
made that faster. So you can poo out damage. I don't know why poo,
Sure.
but you can spam out damage faster, but the actual there's not as much burst from Ashe.
Yeah.
It's more a huge amount of damage over time.
I like this. I mean, Ashe kind of fulfilled the role that McCree usually encompassed, I think, and also took over the role of Widowmaker because she was that versatile. And I suppose that's what they wanted from her. But the trouble is with the map design in Overwatch is you find that essentially she's just going to take priority over both those heroes at the end of the day.
You've got to remember as well.
Ashe was like the savior of the meta like a few months ago. Remember when we had like double shield during the season and Ashe with her dynamite like throwing over the shields, dealing damage like that? Like it was really the savior of that meta, and we were really excited to see Ashe in the meta. Now I just feel like it's dragged on for too long. Like I'm ready to leave Ashe behind. Like, okay, you had your glory days, see you in 6 months or whatever. I feel like it's a pretty decent nerf because it doesn't make her irrelevant, but at the same time, like just that niche where you can use the dynamite and whatever. So welcome change.
I also
totally
think
agree.
Ashe, I think she also represents just like the evolution of hero design in Overwatch. Of like, you know, you look at a hero like McCree in 76, and you even throw like, I guess, Widow in there. But like she has the mobility with the coach gun to get up on the high ground. She can also knock back. Like the dynamite's like a sick ability. Her gun feels awesome to use. That like I think players wanted to play Ashe desperately. She just wasn't good enough. And then once she became just good enough, she became like all the time because everybody just loves playing her so much.
But that's the other thing to remember. She was dog shit for a long time. Like she was truly unplayable for a long time. So. She has now been nerfed, but she was in the meta for a long time. She's been in the meta for ages. So I think it's a relevant nerf, but it's like, I don't want her to go back to just being irrelevant. The other thing as well is, part of the reason that she was so relevant recently is because Sigma's been played the entire time instead of Diva. So there's nobody to eat the dynamite, which is a huge part of her damage output. And you always have to consider like all of the different things that they're doing. They're also doing a nerf to Sigma, which is going to start reintroducing, hopefully, the idea is other off tanks into the meta. And if that happens to be Diva, then I think that's going to, impact Ashe a little bit as well, because you just won't be able to get the same value.
When they buff heroes as well, sometimes it takes a while for the community to catch on to the concept of them being powerful. I'm pretty sure if you remember back to hero pools being introduced and like McCree being banned, and I think Widowmaker being banned in the same meta, and Ashe was the only available hit scan. And then we start to sort of see teams experiment with, I think it was the Valiant who started to experiment with it first, a lot of the Ashe. And then we started to see other teams actually recognize the strength of that hero, I always think back to something that Jeff said. I don't think he said it publicly, but when we were molding over goats as a meta, they were making pretty radical balance changes all throughout the entire goats meta, but goats wouldn't go out of meta because teams are so reliant on it. And something that he says is that the dev team at the time was pretty confident that goats had been nerfs sufficiently enough that there was a better comp out there, but it takes time for the community and it takes time for the pro scene to catch on to those ideas and find a better comp. It takes time for that to develop.
Well, there's a risk to it, right? Because like if you're a team in the middle of the season and you're like, hey, are we going to stray away from one of the best compositions ever to play the counter comp? And it's like, in some cases, yes, that might be applicable. For example, if you're like the Boston Uprising and you can't play Ghost to shit, like I remember when they played like some Doomfist and Sombra composition because they just couldn't play Ghost.
Shanghai,
so like in those
example.
cases, yeah, maybe sure, yeah. Or if you're Chengdu, right? Or as you said, Shanghai in like stage 3, right? Just play the counter comp because you're not good at what is meta. But for the most part, teams just don't want to take the risk to try something new in the middle of a season.
You don't have
That's
time.
why it's very hard. You don't have time because you have like 2 weeks break between stages, and then you have hero pools going in, and you can't, try all different compositions. Like it's just not possible to try all the new stuff. So I understand where also the development team is coming from, where they're like, well, no one's trying it. Yeah, but they're not trying it because there's a season going on and their jobs are on the line, and they don't want to take the risk to do it. So I think. I don't know where I'm going with this, but yes.
Yeah, I kind of led us onto a tangent here, but that wasn't really my intention. I just wanted to, the way I wanted to lead it into the balance change that we're seeing is that sometimes these heroes are actually busted, and they're subtly busted for a long time because the playbase hasn't really caught on to it yet. And this is just Ashe kind of being, I think, towed back to that 50% win rate line where maybe she was just trickling over for a bit too long. I mean, I think she's been nerfed before this as well, like in the subsequent patches, right?
Nerfed,
her dynamite got nerfed, and they're just slowly peeling back a couple of these buffs until they can get her back down to a reasonable
good way of
level.
balancing.
Statistically,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like the system that they're going for here. Now, what does confuse me though is the Hanzo buffs at the same time. Because to me, Hanzo occupies a very similar niche to somebody like Ashe, where you can get up on the high ground really easily. You do a huge amount of damage to shields.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have like the super accurate long range stuff, but if you're a really good Hanzo, you are able to fulfill the sniper role incredibly well, plus the consistent damage. And this is like Hanzo was already really good. He just needed other meta heroes to be nerfed for him to step up. He didn't need buffs to like creep even further in.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
do you think
quite
this is more quality of life?
Is it?
No, this is I feel like is another, like this combined with Sigma is just like a direct go at shielding and potentially like multiple shields where Hanzo, Storm Arrow, and like another, like somebody like a soldier, right, could just plow through any shield like instantly. I feel like at least that's kind of what it's targeted at, or maybe trying to make Hanzo that character, right, who just like insane shield break like rapidly can kind of push you through a choke a little bit. Maybe that's kind of where they're trying to position him.
I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, I thought Hanzo was already in a pretty good position though.
I thought he was as well.
Definitely is.
Yeah,
but not all experimental changes go through.
Yeah, I mean,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like the change, and purely from the aspect of playing Hanzo. I think sometimes having 1.5 second to 2 seconds of storm arrows is kind of tedious because you're forced to just like hold in mouse 1 and just like spam them away at something. Like I just want to get rid of them so I can refocus about positioning and actually aiming my arrows more properly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just not a fan. That's just like who I am in any game. I just don't like channeling abilities or like cast times or like whatever. And by nerfing the quote unquote cast time here, you just get rid of the storm arrows ability quicker, so you can like rethink about the way you use your bow normally or reposition. I don't think this is too much about balancing damage or whatever. Maybe it is. Maybe some pro will speak up about it, like it enables something. But I think for the most part, it's just about making it more fun to play Hanzo.
Yeah, it's a weird change. Second to that, the most significant change in here, I think, or coming up to the tanks, is Sigma. This change to his shield, basically his redeploy time, essentially his window of when he can redeploy, goes up from 1 second to 2.5 seconds. It's increasing it by, what was that, 150% increase. That is massive. And I think I think the justification said that they want a bit more commitment out of Sigma players, so they don't want them repositioning the shield all the time. And I distinctly remember again, one of the things I think it was Jeff that was talking about with Sigma is when they released Sigma as a hero, they were surprised at how much people were readjusting the shield all the time, repositioning it. But it makes sense. Like it's kind of how you play Reinhardt as well at the time. You're trying to like kind of maximize your shield value so it's not getting broken instantly, and you're trying to reposition it always. Overwatch is an agile game. I think this might just gut Sigma completely if this change goes through.
Completely.
I think it allows Diva to make a huge comeback.
Overwatch is a fast game.
It is. This is a really significant nerf. I don't want to take away from that, but I still think that Sigma's got enough all round. Like he's got the CC from the Rock. He still puts out
tons of damage,
large amount of damage, really large amount of damage. And the thing that this allows you to do is Sigma's still really powerful, but now you can punish him because you see him put out a shield, and you know he can't reposition it quickly, so you have that moment of opportunity to try and
get past it
and punish him. And I don't think that's gonna ruin him, because I think there's a lot of places where you can play Sigma up on like high ground areas where you can mitigate this. Like you're not playing in the thick of everything where you need to be readjusting your shield constantly. You would still like to readjust your shield a lot, but if you play in more off-angle positions, you're not going to be dealing with the entire brunt of the team. Maybe I don't think he's going to be played in like ball Sigma comps, for example. I think that there's like way too much that can punish a ball, can punish the Sigma now in these kind of comps. But in slightly slower compositions that aren't like hectic, fast-paced ball Sigma Ashe Tracer or whatever, you know, like mega high tempo. In the slightly slower compositions, I think Sigma's still going to be pretty damn viable.
I do think, though, that I could see a future experimental patch where they give him more shield health. Because I think with this change, like, if you have to commit more to your shield placement, that shield is just going to blow up. Like, Sigma already doesn't have a ton of shield health. And the reason you spam most of the time, I feel like now, is not so much the shield placement. Obviously, it's a big factor. But it's also to just mitigate important damage. And then you can take it away for the lesser damage, like, you know, like lose your shots or like send out a spam or like the non-consequential stuff that doesn't really kill anyone. But you can be more intentional with what damage you really block. So you can block like the lethal hits. If an Ashe has a high ground and you don't want to take headshots from her, that kind of damage is the damage you really need to mitigate. And that's why the redeploy cooldown is really important, because then you can block that damage, but you can also take it away really fast, because when she is gone or someone is not a threat anymore, that's when you can take it off and you can take like the non-lethal damage and let your supports heal that up. Now, with a higher redeploy cooldown, you have to commit more to your shield, and it'll be harder to decide, you know, when is the lethal damage away? Do I have to leave it up here? My shield is broken. I think this is going to actually be quite a big nerf to Sigma overall, because I think his shield is just going to blow up for the most part. And it's going to be really hard to decide, like, when am I safe for 2.5 seconds?
He needed a big nerf, though, right? I mean, I think we're all in agreement that he needed a pretty substantial nerf. It's just whether this makes him sometimes viable or whether it just kind of kills him. But
Guts him, yeah.
I think a bigger issue I have with it is that I think it's going to affect how fun he feels to play.
Right.
It's going to make him feel clunkier.
It definitely is.
Which is always...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think at that point, I asked myself, okay, well, I think we should be... I say we as if I'm the development team. You should be looking in a different direction in terms of balancing a hero if it makes it less fun to play, to tone down the power of it. Like by altering some cooldowns or maybe the damage of his primary fire, something along those lines. And this is a change where I feel like there's already so much latent spam, Johnny, that you were talking about in a game of Overwatch at the moment. In terms of just damage being chucked out, that 700 damage or 700 health on a shield really isn't that much. And now that you're forced to commit it, it's just going to get blown up instantly. Like I've had instances where I'm a dumbass and I just forget my shield's out and it just goes instantly. Like I just forget to recall it sometimes and it just disappears. And then you're left like, I've only got my grasp. I would like to see them change some of the cooldowns, maybe tune some of the other numbers. to do with Sigma to try and tone him down. He's definitely strong. But yeah, that's, I don't know. One interesting change I'd like to see them do, actually, would be to change the rock hitbox size. Make the rock smaller. Which is a weird change because you think, oh, that's like a weird nerf. But I think...
How should we bring Sigma back in line? Oh, let's lower the hitbox on the rock.
I think lowering the hitbox on the rock so it makes it harder to hit a stun. The stun is one of his primary things to stop people aggressing on him. Yeah. It's like one of the primary tools you use.
But it's already a skill shot. It's already not that easy to hit.
It's massive. Like, you should only really be using rock anyway. This is something that Smex taught me, by the way. Oh, yeah. You should only be using rock when you get a guaranteed hit. And coincidentally, I mean, when I say Smex taught me that, it was actually 9K, because 9K was the one who taught him that. So, but the lesson is, like, you should only really be using rock in moments where you're going to be getting value out of it. So it becomes less of a skill shot unless you're trying to cancel another Sigma out of the air or something ridiculous. But I think decreasing the size of it does two things. One, kind of makes it harder to hit, I think, in terms of like just spamming it out up close and hitting your target. But two, it doesn't quite nerf him. It's kind of like a weird change because it means that you can actually fit it through more narrow gaps.
Lord almighty, what are you
saying? Sometimes you're trying to hit it through a doorway and it clips on the side and explodes before it hits your target. Yeah. In some ways, it's a buff at the same time. I like little changes like that.
Yeah, but that isn't a dramatic change to get him back in line and fix the meta.
Move the needle. Yeah.
But you can make...
they could do that as well. They could literally do that as well. And do it.
This is just a change that I would have liked to have seen. But also, I'm just saying that I think any change that makes a hero feel clunkier, I don't like. I feel like you don't want to be taking away that feeling. Like, one of the worst changes, in my opinion, was changing the fire rate of McCree for him. After so long of having a faster fire rate...
But that's crazy to have that opinion, though, because they made him more fun, let's say, by increasing the fire rate. So
I just think you should never touch aspects that build like muscle memory, like shield time, in terms of bringing a shield up, pulling it down.
So never.
Fire rates.
You can never use that ever as about if you're the dev team. The first time you have this and you put it out there, there's no adjusting that.
I think it should be a last resort because it affects players who have built muscle memory on their favorite hero. It affects the overall feel of a character and how fluid it feels to play. It just throws everything out of whack. I think it should be a last resort in terms of touching it, in terms of a balancing. I'm not saying never touch it. I just don't like to see it as one of the...
It probably is, because I mean, we've seen them try and do multiple things with Sigma, like adjustments, and clearly none of it's kind of gotten him out of the spotlight.
Well, what have they actually done? They reduced his shield health, and then they touched his primary fire damage.
Didn't they do another thing where you had to recall the shield, right? They changed that whole mechanic because you didn't have to recall a shield, if I remember correctly, right? You can just throw a new one out or something like that.
Yeah. It was bonkers at the beginning.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I think touching his primary fire is... Sorry, Johnny, what were you going to say?
No. You were going on. Go on.
I was just going to try and put a ribbon on it, to be honest.
All right.
Because I've been going on.
I was just saying that
they
categorized him. Like, I still think of Sigma now as like, well, we're making a double shield or a bunker comp. Who do we bring? Oh, we bring Sigma. But now I don't think of Sigma as like, oh, we're playing Wrecking Ball. Let's play Sigma. Like, that's not what I want to think, and now I won't think that anymore. Like,
exactly.
To Joshua's point,
I think it's a good change.
I think they've categorized him well now, and I do think when he's still being played in like Orisa compositions, that is when you make that decision. Like, when do I deploy my shield? Well, Orisa's shield is broken, and now we gotta wait for the cooldown. That is an obvious example of, hey, it's time to use Sigma Shield. And that's where the redeploy cooldown matters less.
I actually think
it's... dive comp, it's high-paced, you need to put your shield up, you need to spare the shield because it's the only shield you have, reposition because there's... no, there's not tracers. No one plays tracer anymore. The Ashes and other diving stuff, like, that's when a redeploy cooldown is really important. But I think still in like stable compositions, I'm glad Sigma like remains that second shield hero there.
I think it's egregious that Sigma was played in dive comps. That is actually like that's unbelievable to me. Like, if you really take a step back, if you really take a step back and think, like, what the fuck was that guy doing playing in dive comps with Ball and Winston? Like, what? Like, how does that make any sense?
Really good.
He doesn't synergize with them at all.
Yeah.
He just he's just so good that he's better than running other off tanks that synergize better. Like that's wild. So
he definitely needs changes.
That's why I think this is a good change personally.
The other change, just to get off this topic of Sigma, because I think we've just done it to death here, but Wrecking Ball is another change we're looking at, and it's basically lowering his adaptive shields, how much shields he gets. Because I can understand this. I think they buffed. Yeah. As far as I remember, they buffed Wrecking Ball in kind of response to double shield as a way to dislodge double shield a little bit.
I can't remember all of the buffs.
To increase the survivability. I know they're numerous, but I think this is just essentially they've realized, okay, shield tanks have been nerfed pretty hard in terms of their bunkerability, if you will. And now I think Wrecking Ball is just being taken a look at, and it's like, okay, well, maybe you're a little bit too overtuned.
Ball is incredible. As people get better and better at Ball is an insanely good hero. Yeah. And I love that they are not just removing all of the cool pieces of tech, and instead they are nerfing his default kit. That to me is the perfect way of nerfing Wrecking Ball. If instead they were like, no, instead you can't do these cool things where you can, use the tech to be able to get up on crazy high grounds or get like wild boops onto people, like all of the cool shit that Balls do. Yeah. Keep that in the game and nerf the stuff like this that allows you to punish them when you catch them in bad positions. I think this is the perfect nerf.
I'm a big fan of it. I think
I agree.
The dev team have also, like, I can't remember when they did this, but they made a bit of a mantra when it comes to if a hero has these little quirks in the engine that they can do stuff. The first example was the Mercy super jump. Yeah. But it was inconsistent and it was a bug. And then they basically they fixed the bug. Oh yeah, the Genji ledge dash. I mean, that had to go. That was just absurd.
I love it.
That was absolutely, you could catapult yourself.
Bring it back.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the Mercy super jump, and it was a bug, and then they fixed it, but they made it so that it was replicatable. Like you could actually do it now, a consistent thing that you can do by canceling out mechanics. To this day, I have 2 hours of Mercy played. I have no fucking clue how that.
You don't know how to Mercy super jump?
Nope.
Oh my god! I mean, even I know how to Mercy super
I don't know what buttons you have to press, but I know you can do it consistently now.
You can, yeah.
I think that's a fantastic philosophy to take with balancing. And yeah, you're right. I think not touching those tiny little tech things, like when he gets forward momentum when he power drives, so you can land on edges if you're just off of it.
Yeah,
things
you
like
can
that.
whack into a wall and go upwards when you hold S, and it's crazy.
All games, well, I've had stuff like that, but yeah, like some devs have taken different approaches on how they wanted to go about it. Like, do you guys remember? I mean, maybe not, but like Halo 2 had like the BXRs and like different types of like button combos that you could do. That like they ended up leaving 10. In the that they ended up leaving in the game, which everybody loved. It was just like another little like extra wrinkle on like skill, right?
Imagine when you were 10 playing that game, encountering those bugs. Matt had already retired as a professional player. That's insane.
No. No, you have the years wrong. Probably a pretty close retirement, but not fully retired.
He was on MLG TV back then. I was playing Coagulation with my mates in Sweden. Matt was on TV doing reality TV.
I was in the big race on Waterworks, just killing people in the spawn. You remember that map? You guys don't remember Halo 2 at all?
I remember.
I thought that was World of Warcraft. I actually thought you were talking about World of Warcraft.
That's horrible.
The thing with like the big loop by the beach map. I don't know.
That was Halo 3.
Zolda. What was it? No.
Yeah.
Zandalar. It had
Zandalar was in Halo 2. Wasn't it?
Zandalar was in Halo 2.
I remember that map.
It had the big hoop in the middle, and then there was like one flag CTF Zandalar everybody played.
Yeah. I was a big Needler guy. I like the Needler. That was a good weapon. That was fun to play.
Do we move on?
Aim button there.
Yeah, probably.
I wanted to say about Ball. I've been trying to play some main tank. In the off season, trying to get my hours in, make sure I'm actually capable of getting Grandmaster again. And I swear to God, I'm so happy about these tank changes. Like, I know we've just like killed the segment and like we've done it for like 15 minutes, but I can't emphasize enough how much I hated the Wrecking Ball Sigma meta. Like, it was so, and I felt like a boomer at the time. Like, I felt so washed up, and I felt so bad because I'm in these games with these kids, and they're like trying to go pro. They're like in contenders and open division, and I'm here just plagiarizing their games and just like losing SR. They're like Johnny, thank you for throwing, and I'm like just playing Sigma. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I've never felt so bad in my life, and I hated that meta, and I was just like, I just wish Winston and Reinhardt would come back. It felt like playing. It felt like
So you
playing,
hated it because you couldn't adjust and be good at it.
No, it just wasn't fun to play. I just don't enjoy playing ball. Like, I don't go in there and like I want to play Trackmania. Like, that's not what I want to do. I want to play Winston or Reinhardt and coordinate with my team or whatever. And so
I've been watching
and
a bunch of the I've been watching a bunch of contenders VODs to prep for next year, and a lot of the gauntlet stuff and the recent contender season was all played with this with the Wrecking Ball, and I'm pretty confident that the new wave of ball players that are coming in are better than anything we've ever seen in Overwatch. Like, Eamon's absolute peaks, the contenders players have just been better than that. Like, everything
That's
that I've
sick,
seen in
though.
contenders.
It's
like,
insane, yeah.
I genuinely believe that as well. I know that a lot of people, I've been listening to podcasts and stuff, and people are like, oh yeah, Gaga's the best ball in contenders. I'm not sure how he'd quite stack up to Eamon. Bro, fucking people didn't play ball in Overwatch League. These guys are going to come in and be better. Unless the Overwatch League tanks have been hardcore practicing,
Grinding.
which I'm sure they have as well, by the way. I'm sure the Overwatch League tanks have actually gotten a lot better at ball than the last time we saw them too, because it's been meta in ranked for ages, so people have been forced to work on it. But like, I'm confident that if ball gets played next year, it's going to be way better than anything we've seen before in the league. Because like, the ball gameplay previously was all right, but it wasn't great. But there's some cracked out people that are coming in this year, and I'm sure the tanks have been practicing it themselves as well. I'm so excited actually to see what people are going to do. That hero is fun when it's played at like peak level.
It's really been a big change in perspective for me, for where I am in my career now in Overwatch after like 5 years of the game being released. I feel like at times I'm just this guy in like basketball who's like, oh, I love the mid-range 2-point shooter guy. It's like, dude, these days you play around 3-point shooters and like Stephen Curry, and I'm just like on the San Antonio Spurs, just like, yeah, you know, jump up shots, you know.
He talks about his career. He talks about his career as a player. He's been retired for like 8 years, and he plays ranked like 2 hours a week. He's a dinosaur. He plays ranked like 2 hours a week. He's like, my career as a player. Like, you're basically out there in Diamond with us. I mean, come on now.
Apex? Like, oh my god, dude, that's a century ago.
By the way, people really loved our episode with Custer, where we were going through the Dallas game. We should absolutely continue that series.
We should watch a game that Johnny played in.
Yes, I really want to watch a game that Johnny played in.
Yeah,
I really want to.
Send us your favorite game in the comments of your favorite memory of Reinforce as a player, and we'll watch
Relive the glory.
I never rewatch my games. Well,
you're gonna watch it with the three of us critiquing it.
I couldn't even watch them and critique myself. I never watched my own VODs because I just couldn't do it. Like, mentally, I just,
Maybe you needed people like me, Brennon, Josh to watch and critique and give you that advice that you needed to push you to that next level, you know?
Oh my
Lord.
Lord.
We're awakening past trauma.
Yeah.
With this.
Yeah.
We're gonna start VOD reviewing, and
we'll have to sub Johnny off the show to watch Johnny's VODs. We'll have to get Vic in or something.
Let's bring Vic on to watch Johnny VODs.
Yeah. Let's get Zepasai back.
yeah.
Just call me out and shit. You want to get Swoosh? Criticize me?
Yeah, let's get Swoosh. God, that'd be... let's get Lulsish on to do a VOD review of Jonathan.
Yeah. We'll play all of the clips where Johnny said that he would be amazing in the Overwatch League right before, so he won't say that.
I don't
many
remember
bad
any
things.
clips of that. I'll defend my boy Johnny here.
Can we
I
move
feel like
on?
you're making that up.
What's the next topic, Bren?
Can we move on?
What's the next topic, Bren?
Yeah, the next topic is an important one. So, big news in the general scene, I guess. Our boy, Mitch Leslie, is now a father. He's had a child. Uber has a child now with
That's
Ashley.
unreal.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty big news.
That is huge.
Yeah. Griffin,
People
I don't know how to
making
pronounce the
people.
middle name.
Theophilus. I
Theophilus?
think.
Power
Leslie.
gamer.
Yeah.
I mean,
That is a big
That's
boy
a
as well.
large child. That is a large baby. I
£8
mean,
12 is large.
£8.12 is pretty.
I was
big.
£10.9 as a
You were
child.
£10.9 as a child.
pounds.
Mate, you came out
Jesus
fully
Christ.
formed. What the fuck, bro?
It's £10.9 as a child.
Did you split your mother on the way out in
I
twain?
was £10.9, fam. Oh, yeah.
God damn, how did that woman recover? Holy fuck.
The average birth weight of a baby is 7.5 pounds.
Holy shit.
Dude,
You were like
you
a
are
baby
huge.
with a fucking twin's head stuck to you as you came out. You enormous son of a bitch.
Yeah,
10
I don't want to
pounds.
make this about me because it's about their child, but
But you
the
instantly
doctors-
made it about yourself.
I
though.
didn't intend to. I just thought it was funny because you said that was large and I didn't think that was large.
I mean, I did think
you
that was
imagine-
large.
Bren probably came out with just this fucking 8-pound head, just a fucking big bowling ball, just on a little fucking thing. Just,
Did your mum know Andre the Giant? Was he the local milkman?
The doctors said, "Oh yeah, he's going to be a rugby player, that lad." And look
where you are now.
Little did they know.
yeah, you came out
Absolute
10
twig.
pounds. 20 years later, you only gained another, 50.
Yeah. Anyway,
damn.
let's not make it about me.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Beautiful moment for our friend here, Mitch Leslie, of course, now a father, and welcoming Griffin Leslie to the world.
Strafe
What do you think he's
jumped
gonna
out
play
the
in
womb.
WoW? Yeah, what do
Strafe
you think he's
jumped
gonna
out
play
the
in WoW?
womb and almost fragged the doctor.
That's a good line.
It is an incredible line. God.
What's that picture there?
What do you mean?
Read the
Noob with the controller. I love it.
Used to think that the hardest thing was getting out of Plat while being, I don't even know how to pronounce that.
Rotisserie.
Rotisserie.
Yeah. Basically spit roasted is what he's saying, but he has a politer way of putting it. It's 69 episode. What we're not going to dance around this shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big, God, I can't.
Look at how peaceful he looks. And imagine right before this that
Mate.
he was peeing and throwing up. And then he just goes, and then he just rocks up to sleep like this. So yeah, I'm good. Like,
Yes,
later.
that was you at
Matt.
one point, Matt.
Yeah.
Huh?
That was all of us at one point.
I think Matt came
Oh,
out.
I never did that.
I think Matt
never-
came out as like an actual tiny man with a beard. I genuinely
Child
think
of
he
his
came
face.
out as an old man.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Matt as anything other than an old man now.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like it's quite a magical thing, but it's also something that I will not be able to put myself in the shoes of until it actually happens. They always say that.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it literally will alter your brain chemistry having a child.
Yeah.
And seeing your own child and your own offspring as well.
Especially if you're a
Yeah.
mother.
Yeah,
Those studies are crazy.
yeah. It's something that you don't really know the significance of. I have worked with a lot of. I've been weirdly enough. I've been around and
Are you about to say you've met a lot of dads?
Here's the thing, though.
I've met a lot of dads.
I've worked.
There's a lot of people. A lot of
Fucking
people who are
course.
dads.
Of course, I've met a lot of dads. What I'm about to say, though,
dads.
I've been working with and surrounded with a lot of people who have become dads, and I've seen the kind of
Evolution.
yeah,
The
and it's,
shift.
The shift. It's something that's that I've recognized that I won't ever truly know until I am, God forbid, to my future children,
you
but until I
insert
am a
yourself
father.
into the gene pool.
Yeah, God forbid. Yeah, but yeah, it's a magical thing. So I thought we'd make that little I didn't actually make this run a show.
I don't know whether you should try and find a smaller woman to balance out your horrific monster giant genes.
I thought I was going in a different
Monster
direction.
giant.
Yeah, monster
gene.
giant.
Like you might
genes.
create a normal-sized human if you found a
Bro,
woman
I
that
want
was fairly
NBA
small.
kids. I want my kids to be in the NBA.
Well, there we go. Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
I mean, where
I
do
mean,
we
dude,
even
they
take it
say
beyond
the
this?
average baby at 1 month is like 10 pounds. You came out like, you were
Yeah, you came
were
out 1 month old.
huge.
1 month old, fam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were massive.
What's the average height of a baby, Matt?
Hold on, let me find it. So the average height at 1 month is 21.5 inches.
Oh, that's crazy. That's like Matt when his early 20s.
Josh hasn't grown a hair on his head since coming out the womb. It just came out like that, all Morello-y.
This is what baby hair looks like. It's like the top is like molding
you never
away.
got real hair. You just kept the baby hair.
Oh my god.
Hopefully Mitch's kid has better luck than you with hair. I mean,
we can shift this conversation along. And
Congratulations.
Talk about,
yeah. He's going to be a great dad.
Congratulations, Mitch and Ashley, of course, and
good luck in the future.
Yeah, baby Griffin to the world.
I mean, we'll see them in the future, but yeah, I mean, if Josh's like, good luck in the future, like we're never gonna see them again.
I mean, good luck with yeah, okay.
Yeah, good luck in your future, whatever you do. Yeah, see you later. Yeah, that's what Josh basically is just like. Yeah, there you go. That was Mitch and Ashley. See you guys. Whatever.
In other news.
Yeah, they moved to Texas, Johnny.
See,
they
who
bubble
wrote
up.
this
They don't
run
need
a
us
show?
anymore.
The title for this next topic is Matt joins the dark side of official Blizzard employees.
Yeah, I
Who
wrote
said
this.
that? We changed that.
I wrote this and thought that we would change it beforehand, but we didn't. So there we go. Yeah.
Matt's joined the.
Why does Mitch get celebrated and then you guys roast me?
I think this is worth celebrating, Matt. Because
It is.
It's an evolution in your career. I think I'm quite proud of you actually as well. Like a father would to a son, despite the fact that I just said I couldn't empathize with dads.
No, it's just really awesome.
What is your official title?
Fatherhood.
What is your official title for us to put in the lower third?
It is Senior Manager of Product and Content for Activision Blizzard Esports.
Yeah, that doesn't fit. We'll just
yeah.
We'll just
so
say
you can just
full-time employee.
That is a long
cut the
title.
senior part. Cut the senior part in the title and just do Manager of Product and Content.
Yeah, everyone knows he's senior anyway.
Yeah, everybody knows I'm old anyway, right?
Wait, are you sure it was senior and not senile manager of product and content?
No, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to check. I am not the CEO of Blizzard. That is not true.
No, senile, not the CEO.
Okay, so explain what this means for the show. Explain what this means. What you're going to be doing for us as the people, Matt.
What do you mean, you?
And if we're not happy with what you're doing for us,
I ain't doing anything for you. I mean,
Matt is technically our dad now.
I represent the people.
Your dad.
Yeah, what are you doing for us,
working,
the common folk?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work across like both leagues. So, like I mentioned in the tweet, it's again through Call of Duty and Overwatch, but a lot of just kind of consulting on like what the overall products are for both games and like what the future is and how we make awesome stuff for the community for both games. Whether stuff for the broadcast, stuff for content, and then just other things for people to be a part of. So I'm super excited. I get to use a lot of the stuff like that I've done in my career in the past now to actually kind of impact like Overwatch and Call of Duty. I mean, these are the two games I like really love, right? Those are the games I kind of like started with, done forever.
And World of Warcraft. Did they not let you work on World of Warcraft as well?
Yeah, they won't let me near it because it's like crack. I'll never end up running away.
Wow.
And then I also think it's kind of cool like this. And I know I spoke with Monty a little bit before, and it's just cool to see talent like in the industry kind of move into positions like this, right? Because we know the fan bases really well of like all the games we work in, and we're like really kind of like out there being a part of the community, and then to be able to kind of like lend that expertise and like how close we are to these communities to like everybody who works on the product is just really cool to see.
A lot of the other talent that's been working in other esports have taken wildly different gigs because they feel like there's a ceiling when it comes to being broadcast talent. Henry G and Moses have both gone into being general managers and of CS teams. And then was it Jat went to work on the development team, I want to say, in League of Legends.
He went to Liquid.
Went to Liquid as a coach,
then he went
right?
to coach. Yeah. So a lot of people were going elsewhere. This is a bit new because you're moving into like a position to still be on the broadcast and influencing areas of the league. But at the same time,
it's great though because I still want to be on camera because I still like getting on camera and enjoying Overwatch League and everything we do there and Call of Duty as well.
He's a sucker for the fame.
Good to see your narcissism hasn't been kept at check.
Yeah, I mean, look, sometimes like I am who I am, better or worse. It's what I am.
I will say, one of my favorite things about this move is now that when we're having a discussion, the three of us, on this show about something that Matt can't talk about, he's just going to sit there silently with his garden gnome eyes, just looking around like, yep, yeah, there it is. And we're going to know when Matt's like has some confidential info that he cannot talk about, and we're going to be just discussing
Josh, like spokesperson now, so everything Matt says is official.
That is not true either. You mentioned though, Josh, like you look around and like so many other esports talent, like they have to make the decision of like to give up talent and do something else, or stay in talent, right? Yeah. To where this is awesome because we all like live and breathe like Overwatch. Like I love Call of Duty as well, so like to be able to stay and do talent and also work on like the back end of both leagues and just gain experience, like work with the wider teams, like it's a real ideal scenario. And it's something that because we only like on the broadcast get the interface with like a small selection of people, I would say, right? Like behind the scenes. Now that I've been like internal and I've been able to like kind of go around and meet everybody, everybody is just so passionate about the games as well, like, and just incredibly nice. It's super cool to like meet everybody that kind of affects the product that we never even met like on the talent side, right? Like there's a lot of people like that work on the product every day, and
met on the talent side.
And to meet all those people and like they know everything we do and everything on the broadcast, just super cool to see. So I'm excited to do more work and then hopefully
You said, meet all these people who know everything we do. I'm like, oh god.
Maybe you should hide a little bit more.
I just had flashbacks to when we were coming back from one of the homestands, and I remember we got so drunk at the airport.
Oh god, I forgot about that actually.
What you guys do?
We were coming back from
it Dallas?
Yeah, I think it was Dallas because we were getting southern fried chicken or something.
Yeah, we got chicken at the airport and almost missed our flight. But we were.
Oh my god! I remember that you bought chicken at the airport and brought it into the plane. So the entire plane stunk of fried chicken. It was so bad. Oh
yeah, we were doing shots at the bar, and then we were like, "Oh, we're really hungry because we've been drinking. Let's get some chicken." Oh shit, our flight.
They were called last call for Joshua Wilkinson and Brennon Hook. We were like, "Oh fuck!" running through the airport with the fried chicken. But I remember we had the 10-gallon hats on.
Oh,
so
yeah,
we decided to take them as well. So we had the 10-gallon hats on, pissed drunk on tequila with the Popeyes chicken as well in hand. And I remember some guy just found it so fucking funny. I was like, yeah, this guy's enjoying it. And I was so drunk that I forgot that he'd worked on the show with us. That's why he found it funny, because he knew us already. But everyone else on the plane was just fucking hating their lives.
I love how the fact, by the way, is I went from, oh yeah, everybody like knows and like knows all the stuff we do and watches. And the first thing you do after I say that is just tell a story about how you were pissed drunk with a bunch of chicken running through a plane.
I mean, listen, you gotta enjoy your youth while you got it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's one of the examples. I'll tell that to my grandchildren. I say, you ever find yourself at an airport,
get the chicken.
Well, why would you tell them about it? Just show them just give them your phone and make them watch episode 69 of Plat Chat and let them contribute through the ad money that we'll collect forever.
They have to be old enough, though.
They have to be old enough for that.
They have to be over 18 for this one.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, is there anything more you want to add to this topic, Matt, about it? I feel like we've covered it pretty
I kind of said everything on it. Yeah, you guys like it's good to have a schedule and like actually like do work daily. What is that?
That's like, is that your LinkedIn picture?
No.
It should be.
No, it should be.
I think I took this picture. I think I took this picture in Poland.
In Poland?
In Katowice for
World Cup.
Yeah, for World Cup.
Yeah.
Johnny was playing.
No, I wasn't. I was doing talent.
No, Johnny was talent. Yeah.
that was the event in Poland where I was the analyst. I think it was my first.
Oh.
No, it was not my first.
That was the
thing,
one
but I was there, and Sweden was there, and they were screaming with the new Misfits lineup, and I saw them scream with the new Misfits lineup, and I was like, oh, this is curious. And I was like, oh,
Oh, that is what happened. Yeah.
That's
They
how
were
I found
scrimming
out I was
without
booted
you.
from Misfits.
You were doing analysis and you saw your team scrimming without you.
Oh no, they didn't qualify there. But oh my god, like a World
They
Cup
were practicing
team, a World
against
Cup team
Korea.
at the qualifier had scrims, and they were practicing the Misfits tryouts and like during the time. And so I was watching this, like I was like China or like Poland or something.
No, it's Korea.
Korea was scrimming Misfits, the new lineup, and I didn't know that they were scrimming, and because obviously I was booted, so that was how I found out. I was watching Korea scrims in Poland, and they were playing the new team.
Johnny also, he also, I thought Johnny knew the currency when we were in Poland, and when I asked him how much money I should take out of the ATM. And he didn't know, but didn't tell me. And he's like, I don't know, like 2,000 zlotys. And then I went to the bar and like a drink was like 6. I was like, how much money do I have? I just had so much of this like colorful paper money. My air conditioner didn't work. So I just had to sit in the hotel lobby until I basically was about to go to sleep and then just go up to my room and just lay there and pass out.
You could have thrown cash at people to fix it. You could have actually just paid for a new air conditioning
Oh, they
unit
gave me
with
like a
zlotys.
little fan. I got like a little fan to my room.
One of my favorite events to work was the Thailand World Cup stop.
I mean,
Because can we even tell the stories from that?
I mean, it was just fun, wasn't it? It was chaos, but it was fun.
That was an
The only
event.
ones who are enjoying it.
yeah. Me and Bren were reveling in it because
Remember ZP would come into the green room, which we were sharing with the cosplayers, and he'd be like, the curtains, the mold, the curtains on the mold on the curtains. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
it's just fun, man.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
like,
you got to embrace the chaos.
yeah, I love traveling around, and especially that's what I would have loved about the homestands as well. The shittier they are, the shittier an event is, the funnier it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Like
as well.
genuinely, there's
A lot of
something
people-
amazing about working a really polished event, but when you're not working crap events constantly, when you have the position of privilege for working for the Overwatch League, where 99% of what you do is amazing, the one time you get something crap, it's like, oh yeah, I remember what esports
This is
like.
esports right here.
I think back to like I mean MLG events were always like great. Like Adam Apicella on that team like always like did like an awesome job. Like those are always like really easy to work, but then you would go and do some of the other events that were going on at the time, and it was like, yeah, you guys like might be here till like 2 o'clock in the morning. We don't know. Like we're just gonna keep going. It's like nobody had any idea what was going on. Like you'd be like, "Where's catering?" Nobody would have any food. Like you'd have. Remember that there was one event where there were only like 4 casters, and it was me, Gandhi, Golden Boy, and Maven. Which was just a terrible combo of people. And then it was like Gandhi's last event, and we used it against Golden Boy the entire weekend. And Golden Boy was like the talent like manager. And we basically just told him we weren't going to get dressed up for the show. We were just going to wear t-shirts, and like they were no other casters in town. So like, you couldn't really do anything. So like we just grabbed a bunch of t-shirts, like we were wearing them. Golden Boy would be like, you guys, like, and there was no caster schedule. It was like, oh yeah, well you guys go, then we'll go, and then no, I'll stay for this one. Like it was just kind of like going on the fly. And I remember they were like some games where Alex would come to me and Maven like, oh, you guys ready? And Clint would just be like, nah, I'm not ready. I'm just not gonna do it. It's like, like, it's like, what do you mean? Like, he's like, yeah, I just don't really feel like it. One time, Clint bailed on me for a finals. Oh, this is great. We were at an event in, I think it was Nashville, and the finals just wasn't gonna be a good match. Like, you kind of knew it. And I just remember I was like, Clint, like, you ready? He's like, man, I really just don't feel good. Like, I think I'm just gonna go back to the room and sleep. I'm like, the finals are gonna be starting in like 20 minutes. He's like, oh, well, you can find somebody else to do it, right? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, so I grabbed TP, who's like a COD player streamer. It was the first game I think Team's ever casted, was a final at this event. Didn't even have clothes. He just had a jersey on. He just got done playing. I was like, you want to cast the finals with me? He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm like, and then I found Clint in the hallway in his underwear. He locked himself out of the room and was just walking up and down the hallway. It was the
So in
different
summary,
times.
Matt is going to bring back the good old days of esports to Blizzard.
Nope. I like the way we do things now.
It's funny actually,
It's so
like
nice.
getting into another esports title and like watching Valorant as a game progress and go through the early stages of esports, and it is early esports hasn't left. It's still here. It's just waiting for a new title to jump on.
Yeah.
It's just
This
so
you
awesome
put
to
up.
see how far like so many games have gone though, right? Like you
Spider-Man
think
Fortnite?
back, this is a Deadpool doing some form. Did you say that was Spider-Man?
It looks like Spider-Man.
That is
Spider-Man.
That is egregious.
I
That is
am
not
actually
Spider-Man.
a boomer.
All right, well,
We've literally watched Deadpool together in the
Yeah.
cinema.
I've seen it.
I think
before. Yeah, I've seen it. I just can't remember who they are.
I think sometimes we take how far esports has come for granted.
Yeah, definitely.
With how consistent it is to get like good esports, it is. It is
New fans to the Overwatch League don't understand. They actually
well, 5
don't
years
understand.
ago, I was 5 years ago. DreamHack Jonkoping.
Yeah, Yon chirping.
Yes, there it is.
Yongjerping.
Josh did it.
I don't know how to pronounce it. I was sharing a
It
shed
need to
with
be
like 8
softer,
other
Bren.
people
Softer.
Yeah.
at the back, sleeping on the floor to
well, that-
cast Team Fortress 2.
That time you shared a shed with everybody,
Yeah.
I wasn't able to share the shed because I didn't get in quickly enough. So I had to buy a hotel on the other side of Jönköping. And the first night when I got off the plane and walked there because I couldn't afford a
what
taxi.
is that?
Bro, this
Yeah.
is my first esports event I ever casted.
I'll fix the
I
tie.
walked to the hotel and they didn't open after 10 p.m. So I had to sleep in a McDonald's that night.
Is Josh supposed to be doing a
slept
cosplay of the
in a
guy on the
McDonald's.
banner behind him? Is that what is supposed to be going on?
Oh my god. Yeah.
Egg.
Bro, this
I mean,
was
my lord, Josh, you look the same.
this was an event. Yeah, this is the event that never finished. This
Oh yeah,
Wait,
I
how did it never finish?
I organized this event. This was my flagship event that I had brought to DreamHack. Right, it was running
Haven't
in
we
the
told this story like 3
Yeah.
times?
I don't know
Yeah.
if I've heard this.
and the grand finals. We were running in the expo area instead of the actual normal
when
areas.
They closed early.
It closes at 11 p.m.
Yeah, it closed at 11.
exactly, and security will kick you out. We got to the grand finals. It was tied 5-5, going to or whatever it was 3-3, going to the 5th map, going to the 7th map.
7th map.
Yeah, and they were like, "You have to leave. You have to leave right now. You're not allowed to play another map. You have to leave immediately."
I remember casting, my first casting event ever. Casting, and I'm casting as normal, and I can just sense something wrong in the air. as I look over and I see Josh and Cadus just talking and looking nervous, just looking at each other like this, like, and I see security walking. I'm like, oh, that's weird, and I carry on. And we stopped. I remember it was 1-1 on King of the Hill. We stopped.
Yeah.
Went to a break, came back, and Josh was there saying, "Yeah, we've been kicked out of the venue."
I can play that clip right now if you guys want me to.
I
kinda
don't
wanna
think we should
watch
look
it.
at it.
No, I don't think we need the clip.
I think we need this clip. I want to see
I don't, this is it.
We have a very interesting situation. We've never had a situation like this, ever. In fact, I don't think anyone's ever had a situation like this ever. It's very interesting.
You gotta go. It's time to go.
It's time to go. It is indeed time to go. Both of
So
the
wait,
teams are
how
tied
did the tournament
at,
end?
2 maps apiece.
That was it. The tournament ended in a draw.
It's gone on for so long. We had so many golden caps that we've exceeded the schedule, gone miles over it, even of the allowed time that DreamHack gave us extra. And we have 1 minute to
So
leave the
this is
venue
you
before we
explaining to the
literally are all
fans
killed by the DreamHack
that it's over.
security.
Yeah.
And so the
This
team
is him explaining.
have 2 options.
How many
They
people
can either
were
play it
watching?
online at a later date,
We,
or they can call
I
a
think
draw
for these
and split
events
the
we had
high
like a
prize
good
money.
amount.
Well, I mean, a good amount for us
tier
was like
2.
3,000 for
Yeah.
up to 7,000,
Oh,
something
okay.
like that. It
Dude,
wasn't.
back then, if you
wasn't
had 2K
enormous.
viewers, you were like, oh, we got 2,000 viewers, we're set.
Yeah.
That was like 2015.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't enormous, but it was big enough that it was one of the worst experiences of my broadcast.
What a learning, painful learning memories.
Yeah, that was.
You know?
By the way, that was in 2016. So that was
wow.
that was only I mean, that was
It
four
was
and
actually 4 years ago.
4.5 years ago.
I mean, that took place in November. So technically, just
yeah.
about 4
Yeah,
years
so
ago.
about
just
4
over
years
4
ago.
years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enough about this reminiscing.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about other stuff.
This is a Foreheads podcast now.
It was a fun little tangent.
It was,
I don't
yeah.
know. Yeah. You got any
I mean,
horrible
what
stories
was
to
last
tell? other than-
Foreheads episode? I mean, it basically is. I
guess
mean,
Johnny already told a horrible story from his past, which was discovering he got sacked through a program feed of South Korea versus Misfits.
Johnny tells us a horrible story from his past every week. He just talks about his whole career. I mean, it's just
Oh
terrible.
my
I
god.
doesn't want to rewatch the games.
Oh my god.
Slander.
Okay,
Unbelievable.
let's get back on track. Let's talk
I didn't do
Overwatch
anything.
here. Shut up, Matt. Let's talk Overwatch. A lot of Overwatch news. Starting with some pretty major Overwatch news, and that is ANS has retired from competitive Overwatch. This, I'm not going to say this came out of left field, because this is something that he has struggled with personally, was like motivation, I think, as well as kind of mental health during the season of 2020.
Yeah.
And I believe that's what spurred on this decision of retirement. Essentially, just he thinks it's best for his mental health. And I've got the utmost respect for that, honestly. I mean, the guy has left the Overwatch League, a champion and winner of multiple tournaments.
Yeah, that is
It's
the
insane.
best time
And as
to
a rookie.
retire. I mean, he just dominated. He was one of the best rookies we've ever seen. Okay, he didn't win Rookie of the Year, but he genuinely was one of the best rookies we've seen in the Overwatch League. He came in, he pounded. He had a good argument for Rookie of the Year, and then he... Wait, did he win it? Who won it this year? I can't even remember. Was it
Alarm?
ANS, actually?
Alarm?
Oh, shit, yeah, it was Alarm. Yeah, of course. But he also said he was having some wrist issues, and he said like he didn't want to let the team down as well. But I think it's like a combination of stuff. And honestly, you have to prioritize your health. As much as people very much value driven, determined, great people who are willing to sacrifice stuff to get to great positions in their career, he did that already. Like, he's already done that this year. He already sacrificed like a lot of his own mental in order to get to the position to win the season with the Shock. And so it would be too much, it seems, to continue down that path. You've got to prioritize your health at this point. And I think he's going to pick up streaming. I think he said he has a contract with Afrika TV to like actually get paid streaming a bunch of stuff for next year. So get the bag, bro. Get the bag.
Yeah, I mean, his health comes first, mental and physical, right? And he gave like some incredible moments for just all Overwatch fans this year, right? I mean, he was sick,
Spectacular.
coming in, and this is a player that I don't think anyone really expected a ton from at the beginning of the year, right? We weren't really kind of talking a lot about him coming in, where he kind of leaves as like a huge name, like superstar, and I think he'll do great streaming. He is the Shock fan base absolutely loves this guy. They'll follow him, and I think if you're the Shock, this is probably why you went out and tried to get somebody like Nero and kind of really shore up some more spots in the damage dealers, because they probably thought something like this was coming, or maybe this has been a decision for a while.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's probably telling, right? Because you spent a season playing with ANS now, and even during the regular season, like there were some tweets where it was like, "Is this guy okay?" Because it was like, "Hey, I played poorly. We won, but I played poorly.
Very hard on
it wasn't
himself.
good for my team." Yeah, very hard on himself. And yeah, I mean, I agree with what you guys already said. I think it's in the best interest of him to focus on his health and move on. And I mean, you're already a champion. Like, I understand that a lot of people focus on like legacies and like you want to be the best ever, but like some people also, they just like, they won already, and then they kind of like, I don't need to prove myself anymore. Like, I came here, I won, I got a championship, I've dominated on Widowmaker. I'm not saying that is ANS, but that is certainly the case for a lot of players as well. So like, just because some people want to chase like 4 championships, some people just want one and then prove themselves. And that's what ANS
I'm
did.
giggling at the twit longer because Kurt clicked on something that said "read this," and it says "read this" like a command at the top, and then it's all in Korean. And it's like, well, I cannot. I'm sorry, I literally can't. But yeah, he posted a twit longer about it as well. I think the guy definitely There's no argument that he could have competed at the absolute elite level next year. He probably could if he wanted to come back to the game at any point as well. I'd be lying if I didn't say I wanted this guy to continue to perform, to play. I want to see him return at some point. Like, in my ideal world, he gets better, he wants to compete, he comes back and competes. Because he's just such a phenomenal talent that it is unfortunate that these situations have arose in which he doesn't feel comfortable playing next year. But it seems like a great decision.
If you had to pick between Pine or ANS making a comeback, who would you pick?
What do you mean? Like who would you go after first?
No, if you had to pick one to watch.
If you could magically make either of them want to play
come back
next
to the
year.
Overwatch League and get playtime, who would you rather watch? Pine
I'd rather
or
watch
ANS?
ANS.
I would pick ANS.
I'd rather watch ANS, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's nothing against Pine, though. Pine was incredible for his time, but like the game has progressed, and ANS is ANS the best sniper that we've ever seen in the league? I think probably yes.
That's what I tried to emphasize. I didn't try to emphasize on the fact that, Pine is, 2018, but the fact that ANS was so incredible that we all, we view him that highly.
Yeah, I don't really think this applies to many players as well, but ANS is of a caliber of player where the game will wait for him if he ever wanted to return to it in a professional capacity. There's few players that could retire from the game and probably safely say that they would have a spot on a major roster whenever they wanted to return.
That's true.
But ANS, I would say, is one of those players in terms of the caliber of play. The stuff that he showcased this season was ridiculous. I mean, we came into the season not expecting much. We were expecting to be a hit scan specialist. The guy flexed into multiple different roles and played at a high level on one of the best Overwatch teams we've ever seen exist in the history of the game. It's pretty astounding stuff. And honestly, wish him all the best in terms of staying healthy in mind and body, and all the best as well with whatever he decides to go into in the future. And if he ever does want to return to Overwatch, the Overwatch League, I mean, I can absolutely foresee a place for him.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The other thing as well, I think there's another part to this topic as well, though, is that with ANS retiring, it opens up some questions about the Shock in terms of people fulfilling that position for them, right? Because ANS was such a key, vital player for them this season. It allowed Striker to specialize much more. ANS was able to flex and play a bunch of stuff and almost became their guy that would play whatever hero was required of them. And they've added Glister, they've added Nero, but
I don't think you have to ask that question.
Well, what is the answer?
I don't think that's a concern. Is it? Like, you have Striker and Glister. Is this really of a concern? I realize that ANS was special, but let's not kid ourselves that this is a problem now.
I think it's
I'm not saying it's a problem, but like, what is Shock going to do in the future now? Like, what do you think their natural solution would be?
You assume that Striker will go back to some of the stuff he was rumored to like really be practicing hard, right? Like the Widowmaker and Ashe and whatnot, and then they would fit in other players on the Tracer and other kind of heroes.
With the Shock, they've got such a wide sort of play, like a bench in terms of the DPS players and what they can play. Yeah, I don't really think like they were lucky. I think the Shock. They may have been closer, but I think the Shock still would have been favorites to win overall this season if they didn't have ANS as a player, despite the fact that ANS was so special. I think if they, it's a difficult argument to make, but I still think it. Honestly, ANS as a player, not to take anything away from him, but he was just an outlier in terms of how good he was. He was really, really special as a hit scan player. But I think if you take him out of the Shock equation, the Shock is still going to be fine. Absolutely, they're going to be downgraded because it's hard to find a quality of player.
I don't
know
if I agree with that.
But last season,
crazy? Am I crazy for saying that? I think ANS was a crucial part of this year's San Francisco Shock. Obviously crucial, he was crucial. But like to the point where I think that he was like the final masterpiece that made them the best.
He was the cherry on top.
It depends how you look at it. I look at the Shock as more than the sum of their parts, right? It's the system that makes the Shock, not the players, if that makes sense. Sometimes you just get the players being added into the mix and they're just phenomenal, which happens to be a lot of the players on the Shock.
ANS and Striker were definitely two of those that season.
It'll be really interesting. I mean, they have a chance to potentially play like rosters that only feature half of the players that were with them for like their championships, right? Like FD got in the lineup, like a lineup with like Glister and Nero. Like it is such a drastically looking team than we've seen in the past.
I would say that ANS was a much more crucial component last year than he would have been next year. Like I feel,
I agree with that. Sure.
I think that Glister is an insanely good pickup to replace ANS, and I don't. People are obviously going to immediately think of the Widowmaker, where Glister is really good. Am I saying that Glister's the best Widowmaker in the league? No, but I think Glister's up there with some of the best and could perform at that kind of level, not ANS's level, but at the top level. But when it comes to everything else that ANS played. The McCree, he dabbled in a little bit of Tracer, but that would usually be Striker's role. But Glister can play a little bit of that to a similar level as ANS. But when it comes to like the other stuff, like all of the long range hit scan, any projectile stuff that they want him to play as well, Glister's got it all. He actually has the entire full package, and it's not like ANS where it was a surprise when he was that flexible. We already know that Glister is that flexible. So I kind of brought up the topic of what is Shock going to do next year. Kind of because I wanted to say that I don't think they have to do anything differently. They already have that player that's right there ready to fill in. Like, I think that they probably picked up Glister because they knew this was coming as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think to just, what did you say earlier, Bren? Put a
bow on it.
Put a bow on it. Put a bow on it. Yeah. I think that when comparing the two, I think that Glister adds some things in a department where ANS, in terms of flexibility and like flexing to other heroes, because there were some points in the season where like ANS would play like Sombra and stuff, and I'm not saying it was like necessarily bad or anything. It was actually like surprisingly good. Where like, oh, ANS can pick up other heroes, but like Glister, just like he's just better when it comes to that flexibility. So I think you lose some of like maybe you lose some of the firepower with ANS with Glister, but you just add so much in other areas of Glister's game that it's like you can work around that.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, Shock are definitely still the favorites for next season, even with ANS retiring.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think so.
Their lineup is just insane. Like I'm just looking at it on Wikipedia, and I'm like, this is unreal. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Let's move on, I guess. The next topic of conversation is London finally announcing their roster. They've finally done it. They've stopped, coming out with these riddles. And they finally given us the full roster, which is essentially them picking up a lot of the British Hurricane players, right? And do we have a finalized list? I mean, they've announced a lot.
Yeah, we have a list. I think if we look at it on Wikipedia, it'll be finalized. Yeah. But I mean, it's the majority of the players are from British Hurricane, but they haven't signed Danid. I think I'm right in saying Danid's the only player that's been left behind from the British Hurricane, actually, because they've essentially gone with Blase instead, which is pretty unfortunate for Danid, actually. He's been with that team for a long time. He's been a very skilled player. Did great numbers from them on Doomfist when that was in the meta. Did well on the Echo recently playing for them as well. So it is sad to see him not be picked up, but the rest of this team is pretty exciting, actually. Yeah. I feel, relatively hyped.
It's a bit European Vancouver Titan-ish to me, feels like. Because they have that same kind of like reputation as well. Not as big fan favorites, I would say. But like if you talk to people about European contenders and like British Hurricane, it has that same kind of feel to it. And now the team is being promoted to WoW. And I think it will be similar to when Vancouver Titans, I'm so distracted by my dog because it's just craving attention. But in 2019, when the Titans came into the league, it was like, this will really show how good Contenders is.
Oh, you mean the runaway Vancouver Titans?
Yeah.
Sorry?
You mean runaway? You're comparing them to runaway?
Oh yeah, runaway. What did I say? I don't know.
No, you said Vancouver Titans, but I thought you were comparing them to the like Contenders players that they brought in afterwards.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I meant when like the original 2019 Titans came into the league. That was runaway. Yeah, sorry for that. But I think it has a similar feel to it. Because they were like, runaway, they were dominant in Korea at the time, and they're like big fan favorites. And I feel like this is the European version of that. And I feel like this will be a similar kind of thing where like tier 2 fans will be able to look at London Spitfire and be like, this is like what tier 2 can bring into the Overwatch League. And I think it has a similar vibe to it. And I'm really excited to see what they can do.
I think that's quite dangerous, though, because Runaway immediately came in, and I think most people had them. I think I had them 4th in my power rankings, but maybe I had them at like 6th because I thought.
Top 10.
But yeah, everyone had them top 10.
Yes.
I don't think anyone would have London in the top 10. I think although the feel is somewhat similar in terms of it being like, let's see what contenders can do, both in terms of we know that, or at least it's rumored or reported that they're going to be playing on high ping, right? And there's going to be like the ping compensation kind of stuff, so we don't know whether that's going to mess with things. But even so, like, I don't think the British Hurricane are the same class as the Runaway players. I don't think I would immediately put them in the top 10 in the league, for example, even though I feel relatively good about the team. I don't feel that good. Like, that's crazy good to feel about.
That's crazy. But I think Nuki also kind of, didn't she say, I believe, like in an interview, like look, don't expect us to be like top 3, top 4 this year. Like, that's not kind of where their goal is. Like, their goal is to put together a really strong team for the future and then keep some pieces. It's almost like how we talk about from New York, right? You keep some pieces from this team, you bring in some new players, eventually you end up with the squad you want, right? I think this is a really good launching point. I also trust her to be able to build a team like this because, me and Bren have actually gotten to know Nuki a little bit more playing games with her, playing some WoW. She is extremely detail oriented and extremely dedicated and she knows these teams and players so well that I think like if you are looking at somebody who can scout players for the future, she's going to find people in Europe that are coming up that will be that level.
Yeah, Nuki has definitely been almost the unsung hero of European
Overwatch, for so many years,
for years.
Yeah.
I mean, Johnny, you probably remember Takeover, the Takeover event when we met Nuki as well. We've known Nuki for over like 4 years now, just over 4 years, I think. Probably a bit longer than that. But yeah, it's... I absolutely do trust the kind of general direction of this team, just off the back of that alone.
I appreciate the transparency too.
Yeah.
Not trying to sell some bullshit. You're being straight up with the fans. Like,
I think
this is our team. They're gonna be fun. Root for them. We hope to do well, but we're not telling you guys like, hey, we're gonna win it all, right? Like, we're gonna be fun. We're gonna be in the mix, right?
Too. I mean, I think. I think a lot of coaches do that in a lot of sports. They're just like, they don't want to set expectations on the roster. I think this team is going to punch upwards. I mean, sure, individually skilled, like, can you like compare them on paper? Just the fact that these players have played together for so long and they're like an established team, and like even some of the coaches carried over, like Fisher and Commander X, like these people carry over with like a team identity. They play together, they know each other. That matters hugely when you go into the Overwatch League and try to, build a new kind of chemistry and, get situated in the league. I think that's huge. I think this team is going to punch upwards. I don't know how good they're going to be, but I don't think they're going to be a bottom feeder in the league. I don't think they're going to be Paris Eternal in their first season. I think they'll be better than that.
Yes, I do think better than that. See, the thing that I really like about this team is it starts with the tanks for me. Hadi and Molfig are genuinely really talented, and I mean that. This is going to sound a bit underwhelming when I say it, but I really think that this is like pretty fucking high praise for contenders players coming in. I think they're above average in North America. I think this tank line is going to be in the top half of North America if you like actually listed them all out, which considering they're jumping into the Overwatch League, that is damn good. Like Hadi and Molfig, I think, are going to be a pretty damn good duo. They're going to be better than the team itself actually places, I would imagine. And Sparker, if you've ever watched that guy, is nuts as well. He only turns 18 in June. I want to say it's like 10th of June or something.
June 10th.
There you go. Is his birthday. And until then, they only have Blase and Hybrid, which I'm not convinced that's going to go well.
And Hybrid is a new player too. He's the one replacing Dan at D.
Yeah, I haven't watched too much Hybrid though, so I don't know how good he is, but he's not... Neither of those DPS have played with the team before. So it's like the tanks and the supports are there, but Sparker's the only DPS that's played with them previously and he's only available. He is nuts, by the way, but he is only available in June, which is, even with the later start time of the season where they say it's going to start in spring, that's still going to be some months into the season probably when he is available. So I think when you consider like the ping that these guys are going to be playing on, the fact that they have like
ping,
a fairly
yeah.
small roster size,
I
the fact
forgot
that
about that.
Sparker isn't available until June, I think even though this team does have a lot of talent, they're not going to look like bottom feeders, but I don't think they're going to punch up that high either.
Like, what would you say is punching up for them, though, Johnny?
Not
Top 8?
No. Now I need to watch it all the teams. Like, how many teams do we think are gonna play? How many teams play in North America? I don't think they're gonna be bottom 4. But now I forgot about the ping issue. I gotta be honest, I forgot about the ping. That's
thing is,
obviously
there's
going to play a
Like,
part in
we
it all.
talked about for North America. You have like Toronto.
Well, you have Vancouver
Boston,
Titans probably at the bottom,
the
right?
Titans.
Titans, then you have Paris. I think they can beat Paris. I think they're better than that
If they
team.
finish like 8, 9 in North America, I think that would be.
I think they could put together, like, I mean,
would
what,
expect that.
9th last year was the Toronto Defiant. Can
And
they
then
be
Dallas
as
Fuel.
good as like Toronto or Dallas was?
Yeah, but that's the
If
thing.
they punch
Teams have
up-
gotten better.
A lot of teams this year
Teams have gotten better. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what they should be aiming for is trying to be competitive with like a Houston. To be honest, and I think a lot of that comes down to how disadvantageous is the ping. Honestly,
Yeah.
like playing
It's
and
going to affect both teams.
exactly. Not saying they have a ping disadvantage, but just playing on high ping generally is going to make the game weird in ways that we don't know yet because we haven't seen it really. But like the interactions between certain heroes, I'm sure there'll be some dodgy stuff that happens that makes it harder to play at your absolute peak.
Sure.
If that's a huge factor, then maybe they slip down the table. But I don't think it's going to be necessarily because of skill loss.
This is also going to sound, when I say it, it's going to sound a bit like just bogus or like bullshit, whatever. But I don't think you can underestimate like the mental toll for the players and playing on high ping too, and how that affects the team chemistry and like your day-to-day life, like actually playing the game. Like if you were to ask a casual player, like, hey, you gotta play Overwatch on 100 ping forever now, and obviously they're gonna scrim in like lower ping conditions or whatever, but like you mauled playing on high ping, and imagine they have to do it on every official match. Like I don't know
the
what the
other
thing
thing
is
as well
going
is,
to be. You know,
I don't think
maybe
they're going to
they'll
scrim
find-
on low ping. Like who are they going to scrim? Only Paris on low ping.
EU
Or
contenders
EU
teams, right?
And then you're scrimming on low ping when you're playing on high ping. I feel like you would just be playing on it all the time.
Point being, I think compared to like teams, you know, in like the golden era when everyone was in the Blizzard arena and like screamed with each other like on literal LAN ping, like this is actually going to like affect the team chemistry and the day-to-day lives of these players, like playing under those conditions. And I wonder how that's going to affect the team long term.
We also don't know if that's legit, right? I mean, it's
also-
just kind of like,
Yeah, true.
I don't know how
We
big
don't
of
know
an
the
issue
details
it's
of
going
it
to
at
be,
all.
given the fact that the general premise of it is that it's going to be affecting both teams equally. There might be some credit to it, but I think in general, the main takeaways from this should be what you were talking about earlier, Johnny, which is that this is kind of like an ode to contenders in tier 2 for EU for the longest time. It's like a region, I think, with quite a strong fan base, a very niche fan base. Fans of European contenders. It's always been like the region that's undersold, that hasn't really had much limelight. The players don't really get picked up that often. But for the longest time, people have said, you know, they can compete at the very highest level, which is the Overwatch League. This is their opportunity to essentially prove it. They're being slotted directly into it, almost. And yeah, we're going to see what they're capable of. Obviously, the conditions aren't perfect, but yeah, I'm excited to see what this roster is actually capable of. But at the same time, you've got to keep the expectations in mind, or like at least temper them.
Yeah.
Given the fact that almost every single team in the Overwatch League is upgrading and getting better in the NA side, which is the teams they're going to be playing against.
Yeah, that's the thing. They could be better than a bunch of teams from last year and still finish in the bottom 3 in North America, genuinely. Like, that is a very real possibility. I'll tell you what, though. I've been watching a lot of Hattie recently, Hattie and Molfik. These guys are good. Yeah. I mean, like, Hattie isn't the best main tank that's coming in from contenders either. Like, you've got people like Mag and Gaga that are coming in too. And yet, Hattie is probably the best player that's coming in from European contenders. I mean, it's only him and Dan, but he was the best player available, and he's nuts. He's really good. He's like a true talent. It's been a while since we've had. I mean, who is the last player? Isn't it Fusions? Like the last top European player, the
Tank.
that came through.
Ben Best?
Wasn't it? Oh, Ben Best is a good
I
call,
guess.
actually. Yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah, it was like Fraggy, Cloudy, I suppose. Ben
Lolsish
Best.
was supposed to
Oh,
be,
yeah,
but
Lolsish was supposed to be in as well.
Supposed to, yeah.
I always forget about him because he never got any playtime, unfortunately.
What
But
a
yeah,
shame.
I feel good about Hadi and Molfig. I feel like that's a good, so often when we talk about these teams, we talk about the tanks being the kind of key core component to being how good you're going to be as a team. I feel good about Hadi and Molfig. They're good players.
I will get to preseason power rankings at some point, but when we do, I think this team, we're gonna look at the rosters and we're gonna think highly of this team compared to some of the others in NA.
sure.
Yeah, I think that's very possible. I think it's mostly they're going to get downranked based on circumstance.
Let's shift the conversation. Let's start talking about some other teams here. I mean, I'm looking forward to the London roster, but there's one
Big
more
up the
team.
boys.
There's one more team that's rearing its head, and it's a big acquisition. Old Dynasty are promoted ToYou.
Fuck yeah, they have an off tank.
Yeah, they have an off
Holy
tank.
moly.
They promoted ToYou. I think ToYou was a two-way player, right?
Yeah.
He was a two-way player,
Yeah.
But I think he was a main player. Then they moved him to two-way at the end of this season, and then they've moved him
promoted
back.
him again. It's a tax evasion. I don't know. That's what hearsay. Don't listen
allegation.
to me. Yeah, just throwing out allegations towards teams. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about this other than thank God that Seoul have actually got an off-tank player.
But you know what this to me implies, and I might be reading between the lines of the tea leaves here a bit too much. But if you have an off tank, and you make them two-way, and then you bring them back to full, unless there's something in the contract that I'm misunderstanding or not thinking about, of like maybe you get to pay them less, but I don't think you do. When they're on a two-way, you still have to pay them league minimum. So I don't understand why that would be advantageous for the org. But in my head, that just indicates that they maybe wanted to use a two-way, but they couldn't find a better off tank that wanted to play for Seoul.
Sure.
That's the first thing that, well, as soon as I saw that Seoul had promoted ToYou, I was like, does that mean that they couldn't find a better player and just had to revert back to their former pick?
Or they tried out other players
Arnold.
and
maybe
seemed
didn't like them
good.
as much.
Yeah, we're not going to know the true reason unless we actually speak to the teams themselves. But I think that is one thing you can speculate from it, is that they were probably exploring other options, and it ended up being, it's got to the point at least where they needed ToYou to come back on.
Yeah.
Or they went for a trialing process and ToYou was part of that, and ToYou exceeded expectations, which is another possibility.
Definitely possible. I think whenever I see this though, I'm gonna, for the rest of the offseason, be confused as to where Janu and Meko have gone.
Yeah.
Especially Janu.
For sure.
Because when you saw Janu play, okay, his Sigma wasn't the greatest in the entire world, but his Diva was absolutely up there with the greatest in the entire world. And then he's also able to play the ball, which, okay, is mainly main tanks at the moment. It's not really an off-tanks job, but you don't know that that's going to be the case in the future. Like, we just had a double off-tank meta. Who's to say there isn't going to be a double main tank meta coming up? Like, why could that not be a thing? That could totally be a thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't mind this pickup, but it does seem a little underwhelming to just go back to the exact same off tank that you didn't even bother using last year.
I mean, maybe
he came in kind of late too.
Yeah.
He did come in late, yeah, and they used him a bit, but they didn't commit to him. And if they didn't commit to him last year, why? And are they going to fuck it up again?
Because maybe they thought that Diva wasn't really necessary last year, and they could just roll out with Sigma all the time, where now you bring in ToYou and he just plays Diva for this team, and Marvel still continues to play in like the Sigma Zarya type of stuff.
If Marvel carries on playing Sigma for this team, I'm still gonna mold. Because the whole point about me like ragging on Seoul for not picking up an off tank is because I want them to keep Marvel on main tank. Like that to me is the core thing with getting Seoul's consistency, is that you need Marvel to balance out Gesture in that main tank role. And that means you need a solid, 100% dependable off-tank that you can always rely on, so that Marvel doesn't split his playtime between the tanks. That's my core issue, and I don't know whether this solves it.
I mean, I don't know. I think you come from the right place, and I think that it does beg the question, but I don't feel as strongly about it as you do. Because I see this as a guy who like played for Gen.G, like the academy team of Seoul Dynasty, had success in contenders. I mean, they got second in Gauntlet that played in December too. Like, you know, he's a really good player. He's in the system. He's in the organization, and like the academy team. Like, they probably know. This is a case where like I think. No, oh my god, I'm putting my face. I'm putting my face crazy here, but I cannot trust Seoul here. For better or worse, I cannot trust Seoul here because like he's been in the system for a long time now. They probably know he's been successful in contenders. Like if they promote ToYou, yes, Seoul has made some questionable decisions in the past, but I cannot go with it. Like, okay, you want to promote ToYou? Show me what you got. You know,
maybe they did.
Hugo just went wild.
He did, yeah.
Did Jaws press the elevator again?
No, he's been scratching at the door trying to get in, and then Chelsea opened the door and he just darted in like a maniac, and then she's right here, so he jumped on me, saw her, started freaking out, just wild, kind of knocked everything all over the place.
My dog gets the same way. Like when I sit at the computer for too long, my dog loses it and just like gets bored, and it's like stop sitting at the computer.
It doesn't look like it's that boy right there. It looks like you're about to fall asleep.
Dude, for the past 30 minutes, Siri has been harassing me with like a ball and just like smashing a ball into me because she wants me to play with her and just like toss the ball or like, you know, stuff like that. So just made a mess, and now just in the dog
chilling
bed,
out,
chewing on toys.
Maybe ToYou was just a two-way player, so he could play in Gauntlet. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Mm-hmm. Like that might.
There's
actually
multiple
just be the
scenarios.
reason.
I feel like that
Okay,
could have taken
if
place.
maximum mauled would be if they signed ToYou and then continued playing with Marvel and Gesture. At that point, I would just go nuclear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is what I'm worried about.
And that definitely feels like Seoul decision making.
Exactly.
We've seen it before.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
If they had signed somebody else, I would be confident, or at least more confident, that they were going to play them because they've like gone out, they've sought someone, and they know that they're going to be the off tank. Now that they've picked up the same guy that they frequently subbed out for Marvel, I've lost that faith.
Someone out there is just gonna like lose it at us because like we're sitting here from like our our little palace, you know, and we're doing these high level discussions
Ivory Tower.
because we know, Ivory Tower, and some guy is just like, these motherfuckers are complaining about the team that got second in the entire last season, losing to Shock in the grand finals, and we're here talking about their decisions to run an off tank and a main tank, and it's just like, come off it. Like,
I mean, the trouble is, the thing that I want from a team. Yeah, I mean, that's an argument.
Consistency. I want regular season results.
Exactly.
I don't want you to fluke your way into a grand finals performance, you lucky bastards.
Just to roll that back a little bit. It's not just luck that plays into it. But consistency was the one word I was going to use to describe what I want from teams. If you're going to be making changes, you're going to be aiming for that consistency week in, week out, which Seoul were the complete opposite of. They were like a fucking ball of chaos just bopping around the league, oscillating wildly. Yeah. Loss, win. Sometimes just winning a tournament, just like out of the minute. I mean, I don't know. It's frustrating probably for the fans. It's frustrating for me as a watcher and commentator to not know what to expect out of a team in a given week. So consistency is key. I think
they do run ToYou.
Yeah, I
stick to him.
Yeah, hopefully this signing, this promotion will bode well. Next on the list, we've got and actually our final topic aside from Bren's play of the week is Barroi joining Boston. So Barroi, I think, he parted ways with Toronto.
Yeah.
Yes.
And typically Barroi's role, I believe, was filled with like a data analyst position almost, where definitely more on the statistical side of kind of the Overwatch League and analyzing that and seeing how that can be pushed forward in terms of that analysis. But this guy is one of the smartest people that I've met in the Overwatch League, I think, in terms of what he knows in the kind of field that he inhabits. I think this is a really solid pickup for Boston.
Yeah.
This shows that I think Boston are in a very good position. And it's actually a role that Boston, I think, I don't know if he's going to be fulfilling the same role, but it's something that they have had before when Gumba was on Boston.
Yeah, Gumba. Yeah, and they actually had somebody else as well that was like a data analyst.
Mini? Was it Mini?
Was it Mini or was it Mr. Bleeple?
Might have been
I'm
Mr.
not
Beat.
sure.
I can't
Mr.
remember.
Beat,
Yeah.
what a name.
Yeah, I think they had somebody else that previously fulfilled a similar role. What I'm interested in as well is that Barroi is definitely statistical analysis as well and can use that to help influence coaching decisions. But Barroi is also very good at being able to scout talent too.
Yeah.
And find hidden gems, in some sense based on a bit of a statistical analysis system as well, but he's also got a decent eye test on him as well. So there's a lot of times in the past where, back before Barroi was actually in the Overwatch League, he'd be talking about players well before they were signed and noticing them in much lower divisions than anyone that I was talking to was even bothering watching.
Sure.
So I'm interested to see, because also, I don't know whether you guys read this, but Yiska did some power rankings recently, and where he was ranking all of the teams in the league based on their what he believes are going to be kind of their prospective rosters, barring any major roster changes. And the way that he ranked Boston was under the assumption that they were going to be signing some major Korean talent as well, because there's rumors circulating about that.
Yeah.
But it's not been... He said he wasn't confident enough to report on it properly, but in order to do his power rankings and then be accurate in any way, he had to consider that as a genuine possibility because that's what all the rumors are about. I can't remember who was supposed to be getting picked up, but if they genuinely do pick up some really good contender talent, and there's still a bunch available, like a bunch of the Runaway guys and the Gen G guys, and I think the WGS or something have not been picked up yet as well.
There's still quality players left.
There's definitely still quality players left. And if Boston pick up a couple of them, which they've already made the move for Stand 1, then they made the move for Soon, now they're making a move for Barroi, it seems like they're setting up more of a structure than we've seen in the past from Boston.
Yeah,
like,
or at least the last time we saw this was season 1. When they looked their best.
They got a new coach a very long time ago. We didn't.
Yeah, Laurie. Who is renowned in Korean contenders to be a really good coach. So if the moves are still there and going to be made for Boston, they could shoot up the prospective rankings that we all have in our head. Like, we all have them as a bottom
The
team
league
still.
is going to be so competitive.
Yeah,
If they actually do that, it really will be.
Like, there's not like a team that you look at and is like, yeah, that's a dumpster fire, you know?
Vancouver.
Like, yeah, I mean, they're probably like, you would say like if you had to pick one, like, yeah, they're the roster that's like the most underwhelming out of the group.
You
yeah.
skirt around that one, didn't you?
Well, I even think if you look at Vancouver this year, it's not as poor as some of the teams we saw going in the last year.
Yeah, I think that's
like
somewhat reasonable.
Like it's definitely like if you were to say like look at the bottom roster from each season, it's probably the best of the bottom rosters like we've ever seen.
I think the Shanghai Dragons from 2018 would have some disagreements about that, Matt. But
oh well, I mean,
and
you
the
don't even consider them. I mean, they didn't win a fucking game.
Oh wait, you mean it's the best? Sorry, yeah. So that's it. Yeah. You said
you wouldn't be.
Vancouver Titans was the best that we've seen out of the bottom team.
Yeah, I mean that's a given though. I mean, not to get off track here, but it's a given that in the season that we're in, the later the esports progresses, of course, the worst team is going to be better than all the other worst teams that we've had.
I mean, that's assuming that the teams actually learn and get better.
Yeah, which they have been.
Yeah, most of the time.
Sometimes
teams have not.
Wait, is my webcam just completely broken?
I don't know what's happened.
It looks like your face is falling off.
Yeah.
I don't know what the
go.
hell is going on with you. Yeah. All right, there you go.
Got a new nose for a moment there.
Yeah, like the side of your
so
nose
pink.
just left your face. I mean, you've been pink the whole time. Yeah.
Overall, though, we like this pickup with Barroi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like this pickup.
I mean, it's kind of solid, but like when we get to preseason power rankings, I'm not gonna mince words.
Yeah, but I also think that wait, about Barroi.
Okay.
You got some beef with Barroi?
Beef going on, huh?
No, not about Barroi per se, but like I don't want you guys to hype up Boston Uprising too much. Because it sounds like you're just like touting their horn.
I feel like we can give us this. You can have London Spitfire. We'll have Boston. You know,
I don't want Boston.
You can have Boston. I'll have Shock.
I only want Boston. I only want Boston if they pick up some really good players. I don't want current Boston. That's the thing. The reason that the Barroi joining Boston, I like it as a move, is not because I think Barroi is going to be a game changer. Yeah. It's because it indicates to me that Boston are looking to expand their staff, expand their players, and actually spend money and do things to be good this season. Barroi isn't the kind of player that you, the kind of guy that you just pick up as a charity case in the off season. I don't think. Like you pick him up if you actually have some players you really want to work and develop. At least that's how I'm thinking about it. I'm assuming there's still stuff on the horizon for Boston.
You waiting for me?
Yep, you're the host.
I was writing a message to Kurt.
All right. Well, what's our next segment?
I'm waiting for the
So,
acknowledgement. This is important.
What's
Cool.
what's the
All
next
right, sorry, I
segment?
was just double checking. We can edit that in post. All right, it's time for the next segment. It's time for Brenn's Player of the Week, and this week I have decided. I mean, I can't really not give it to who I'm going to give it to this week, can I? With my Player of the Week, I can't not.
Oh my God!
Give it to.
You're not gonna give it to him.
To Mitch, Ashley, and Griffin. I can't not give it to them. Well, you're right. I can't not give it to them. So I am going to be giving it to them. They're going to be getting my Bren's Player of the Week this week. It's going to be going to Mitch, Ashley, and of course Griffin
What
as well.
about me?
Yeah.
Get out of here, Matt. The newest family in the Overwatch scene.
Until you can cook up another human in your womb and produce it out of your body, you are not winning Bren's Player of the Week.
Mate, you just. Okay, I'm not going to make... I was about to say you just gave him more sex education than he's ever got in the US education system. In a single moment, his eyes were gleaming.
I brought Hugo in here to celebrate my win, and I didn't win.
Matt thinks that's how you have kids. You buy them like a dog.
That's not true.
Gonna go to a store and go looking for the baby.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I have to, don't I? I really have to. But honestly, they absolutely deserve it as well. I mean, we're all so happy with Mitch. We said it earlier as well. It's a pretty, I'm not going to say low-key Brent's Player of the Week, but it's an obvious one, you know?
Sure.
It's
Yeah,
absolutely an
he's
obvious
just
one.
trying to one-up me. You know, I announced this awesome new job, and what does he do? He produces a child in the same week. You know, he's always got to be one-upping me in some capacity. I had, what am I supposed to do? Get a new job and produce a child in a week? That's just not possible. I can't do that.
I mean, he is the one who carries your duo at the end of the day, so it makes sense that he would be winning the award here as well.
Oh, I mean, that is that ain't true.
Not true.
Fake news.
If Mitch ends up being distracted by becoming a father, and he can't put 100% into the casts, and he's like, he goes into the cast and he's like, Matt, I really need you to step up today. I haven't done my prep properly. I really need you to, level up your game 150%. Do you think Matt would do it? Like stroll out in a fucking hoodie and he'd go, "What up?" And then
everybody,
Mitch
to
and
talk.
Bren prepped together. That's why they both didn't know who Krong was until stage 4.
Did Mitch not know who Krong? I knew who fucking Krong was.
Mitch knew who Krong was. He did the research. He reads the packet.
Bro, I knew who Krong was.
Bren found out who ToYou was on this show. He was here on this show.
Wasn't it QOQ? I think it was.
Was it?
I don't think it was 2. I think it was QOQ.
QOQ, you had no idea who he was.
Yeah, listen, sometimes I'm caught slipping. A lot I'm caught slipping.
You're the Charles Barkley of the show.
I mean, that's insulting to Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley was a basketball legend before he became a TV
That's
person.
a fucking waste of space.
He's the Bren in the Brittleman. I mean, the amount of disrespect. I mean, we trot him out there to just do circus games. I mean, he's not like a real player.
I was trying out to entertain the crowd in a costume.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah. Not really an apt comparison at the end of the day.
I'll have to figure out a way to get back into the lead in Bren's Player of the Week rankings. I'll have to do something wild.
Maybe if we...
Oh, this is great.
This is incredible.
Watching huge people play... I mean, that golf was just...
His swing is not very good.
Why does he pause in the middle? It's like...
He's got this weird hitch. I don't know. It's always been play it again, Kurt. He's got this weird hitch when he
he's
swings.
a big boy.
What the thing is, he's so
freezing.
large that he can get away with the half swing, you know? Like, he can almost get away with it.
What's the point in the backswing if you're just going to stop in the middle?
He's working on it.
I don't believe you.
He's working on it. Don't worry about him. I'm sure it's better now.
Charles Barkley is 6'6", 252. Yeah, he's a big guy.
252, my God. 6'6" as well.
Johnny could get to that.
Wait, he's 6'6". I'm 6'7".
Yeah,
Am I
Charles
taller
Barkley's
than
not
Charles
tall.
Barkley?
Yeah, he was never like
He had a crazy
a tall
vertical,
player.
didn't he?
Yeah, I mean this is like really old Charles Barkley.
Say
Yeah,
Charles
I mean,
Barkley's not
That could
tall.
be me.
He's 6'6".
Yeah, I mean,
I could do that.
All the
No.
poor
Well,
boys
you
who are
know,
putting 5'11" in their
We're
Tinder
the same
bios are
body
crying
size.
at that comment.
Yeah.
In tears.
I mean
Yeah.
Charles Barkley is.
I mean, talking about people not being tall, I got this chair specifically so that I could seem like I was as tall as Bren. Otherwise, I look like a little manlet next to you. When it's down like
Yeah,
this.
you're standing up now, right?
I'll tell you, hold on. We'll end this episode with me testing. I was curious if I could use the hiking chair I bought temporarily while I moved in here at this desk. Let me get it out real quick.
A hiking chair?
A hiking.
When is he
chair.
going hiking?
I don't know, but he's just gone for the cupboard underneath the stairs.
Oh, those the one that like you fold out and down.
Yeah,
I bought this
Yeah.
as like a temporary chair, and I was like, can I use this on the set? Because like basically the way I'm sat, like there's a leg in the way.
Yeah,
I was
hey,
like,
hey,
can I-
Campbell's hiking chairs, if you want to sponsor us.
I was like, can I use this on the set? Can you pull this off for me?
Could you imagine if we had a chair sponsor and they were just hiking chairs just like these? Like,
I went to go test it. Test it.
you can't even
so
see
far
with the
down.
mic. Yeah. What is wrong
I'm so
with you?
small. And that's going to conclude episode 69 of Plat Chat Overwatch. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure
Like
you
and subscribe.
You like and subscribe. You got to move the camera to the right a little bit, Johnny, otherwise we can't see Siri. Oh, there we go.
I'm trying to move the chair.
Just move the
She's
dog. There you
very
go. That works.
distraught. I've
If you-
been at the
if
PC
you-
all day.
If you don't like this episode, like and subscribe so you can see the adjustments we would make for the next episode that
Yeah,
you
And
will like.
also comment saying just comment in protest.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. Just comment in protest. And also just comment with
God, the creative juices are flowing.
it's late.
That's it.
I've got nothing.
Did you cut it? Did you cut
You
it?
cut it?
No.
Oh, it's still going? Oh, jeez.
Cut
Okay.
the feed,
Well,
Kurt! Cut the feed!
cut the feed, Kurt.
Do the orange justice.
Do the orange. I'm not doing the orange justice.
What is the orange
Where's
justice?
my bag gone?
The Fortnite dance.